Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox on the channel, host Sega Forever here. Don't really got much to talk about. Saw some stuff on the Xbox side, but still wanted to do a video or a podcast. So I just titled this Hangout. So hopefully we'll get some of you guys in the chat. This will kind of be an all-in chat. Um, but because I don't know what I'm really going to be talking about, I got some stuff, of course, but this could go any which way. So I just labeled it Hangout. Hopefully some of you guys will be able to join me. I know this is a for a lot of people that come to the channel, a lot of the guys who participate in the podcast. This is a little bit of a weird hour. Again, just got up. I'm not gonna lie. First thing I did was watch Solo Leveling. New episodes drop every Saturday. Um, I'm still. If I didn't tell you guys, I hurt my back really bad last week. In fact, I was out of work for like 2 days, and this is one of the few things I can do early in the morning, man, because I can't. I'm not really mobile, and I sit in this chair that I have. It's similar to the chair I have in my office where I work. It's ergonomically, it's an ergo chair, but not only that, it's built for my height weight specifications. So when I sit in it, dude, it just puts that right amount of pressure on my lower back. Um, and then also, I might have to end the podcast early because my kids just landed. Um, I thought they were. I didn't know they were leaving. Well, I guess because Japan is one. My kids went to Japan, so they're 1 day ahead of us. So yeah, so I think they did leave on Saturday. Anyway, I can't keep up with the time differences and stuff like that, but I got a text saying that they just landed. So we'll see how long this will go. Because my kids might come back directly here, or they might not. I'm not sure. But regardless, I already set up the podcast, and I wanted to get it rolling again. Hopefully, you guys can jump in and hang out. But yeah. So the first thing I did this morning was jumped on and watched Solo Leveling. Um, it's in its second season. They're starting to wrap up the Jeju Island story arc, which I started getting the manhwas, or I don't know if I can call it manhwa. They're actually graphic novels. I'll just say the Solo Leveling graphic novels because they're in color and they're in English, and I really like them a lot. And the only thing I see is that with the anime, they're taking liberties with the source material. Not a lot. I mean, some people are commenting about it. I do agree that there's some things getting that's missing beside that you have to read between the lines. But if you have the book, right, it's just like in any other story adaptation from a novel or book or anything like that. Is that given the type of media that you're viewing it from. If you look at the anime is only like 23 minutes, dude. In fact, I wish they would make it like half an hour or maybe even 45 minutes. But then, of course, economic times we live in very, I'm pretty sure that that's not going to help the cost. And just thankful that they can put this series together because it's really good. It's probably the most popular thing on Crunchyroll right now. And there's a lot of popular anime, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is better than anything else. I'm not saying it that way, right? Because people get sensitive about that. But what I am saying it's one of the most, the buzz level on this anime is huge. I was watching it from the jump just because it looked like something that was interesting to me. I didn't know anything about Solo Leveling. In fact, after I started watching a couple episodes, my daughter kind of did a breakdown for me about what was going on with this. Because I thought it was a manga. It's not. It's a manhwa. I thought it was from Japan. The anime is from Japan, but the actual manhwa is Korean, which makes sense because I watch a lot of Korean dramas and stuff like that, and it has a little bit of a tinge or a touch of South Korea pop culture in there. Some of the stuff that they do. And the anime is absolutely awesome, dude. So it's good to see that they're able to cross the streams in a good way. As you guys know, with our entertainment industry, that's not always the case, right? Especially with all the stuff we've been going through. Specifically, you guys know I focus on Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney. Which actually, honestly, I haven't been really focusing on because I moved on. And that's something I just wanted to let you guys know. I know some of you guys wonder why I don't do as much content on those like I used to do on my channel. It's just I don't keep up with it anymore. And when I say I moved on, I've literally moved on. I'm not one of these channels that's going to ultra focus on it. But I do watch people that do just to stay in the know. And I do watch a lot of variety and stuff like that. But look, let's be honest, man. If you look at people's opinions, you can kind of tell. After a while, you can kind of tell whether loyalties, quote unquote, lie in some of this stuff. Some of it's fine, This is like for when I look at entertainment vlogs or if I'm looking at entertainment news, media stuff on YouTube, right? You can tell, who butters their bread, right? And that makes sense to me, right? It's the industry. That's an industry thing, right? Then you have the fandom aspect of it, and you have fandoms mostly on one certain side now. But there's not a really a balance anymore. Dude, people are calling out all the BS that's going on in popular culture, right? That's the trend lines now. That's the norm, and I absolutely agree with it. Obviously, there's people that are taking advantage of it. There's people that are just doing it for clicks and views. But that's at the end of the day, the way I consume my media, I ultimately make the decision of what I'm going to play, what I don't play. So, case in point with solo leveling, um, I just based it on the premise, whether I would like the anime or not, or even if I would watch it. And from the premise in and of itself, I knew that I would enjoy it. I just had a feeling that it was going to be good for me. Right? Sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. Man, you guys can watch it. I watched a couple of animes, and then as the story went on, I just kind of like, oh, it's okay. But for the most part, I know what I like. That's my point. So I don't really have to worry about um, whether what people say or what the trends are and stuff like that. Again, I told you guys a million times on my channel that a lot of the stuff that I like, most people don't, and it was never popular, which is ironic, right? Because you have a movie, you have certain movies in the past that are popular now, or that have a cult following that was not successful by industry standards, by business standards, money standards, economic standards, however you want to cut it. But it's just something about the show or the movie that I liked, right? And that's why I think even if you're into gaming, you can apply this to gaming. Dude, you gotta know yourself and what you like and what and don't be afraid to step out there, right? And try stuff. Now, I know the way the trends are. I mean, trends are pretty strong now. It's unfortunate. It's always been a part of popular culture, whether movies, music. In this instance, we're talking about gaming. Um, you can see where things are moving, and if that's not your thing, then don't participate. That's the best I can tell you. But you make that choice, dude. Don't let other people make that choice for you. Right? I've talked about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think it dropped the other day. And I know some of the guys are going to be playing it. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan. Seeing all the backlash of the stuff that they're doing, and this is not the people in the gaming community or people that comment on popular culture, dude. You guys know I follow a lot of politics in Japan. It's even crossed those streams, right? And I'm just not. Look, dude, Assassin's Creed is not one of my go-to franchises, right? And then on top of that, dude, we have Xbox, right? Just um, dousing, dousing us in games, dude. I'd say every month, but I'm like every week. If there's not an announcement and then the backlog of stuff within Game Pass, this is the crazy thing about it, right? And this is why when it comes to the hate that Xbox gets, it's very irritating to me because the number of the number of games that you have access to if you have an Xbox console or if you're in the Xbox ecosystem, dude, it is something that I have never experienced in my life as a gamer. And I've been playing games my entire life, right? I'm talking from the arcades to home consoles, right? Even dabbled in PC a lot. I mean, a little bit, not a lot. Um, that's not my cup of tea, but you feel me? You see what I'm saying, right? So overall, dude, it's just I've never experienced a time like this, right? Like you had games, you had quote unquote huge libraries of games at certain points of time in gaming, but you have to really hunt it down. Right? If you guys listen to Hebot, right, the world's most powerful game. If you listen to Hebot talk about gaming, man, he encapsulates that so well, right? Because he's run the gamut when it comes to gaming, right? His background and he does it to this day, guys. If you go to his channel, he does a lot of video game streaming and stuff like that. And if you watch his videos, you understand what I'm talking about, man. He's old school, right? Same thing with Sega, man. I'll put myself in that category. But I would say Hebot's probably way more versed. Um, but what I mean by that is back then, dude, it wasn't at your fingertips, guys. You had to actually go out and hunt this stuff. You had to go look for this stuff, which means that you were culturally engrafted into what gaming actually was. The stuff that I like to talk about, the culture when it comes to gaming, right? You have to go places, dude. I have to walk. Sometimes when I moved to the mainland, dude, I had to walk miles to go to the local arcade. The area that I lived in, man, was like it was a cow town, right? And they did have an arcade there, but where I lived and where the arcade was, man, that was like an hour and a half, 2 hour walk, right? And all I had was maybe scrounged up like $2 and then went and played. That's what I'm talking about. That level of commitment to gaming because you just love gaming so much, right? But now in today's society, and I'm saying it's bad. This is bad, but we're so spoiled now, right? Because you can just turn on your Xbox and bam, dude, you got the whole world in your front doorstep, Right? If you guys haven't noticed, when it comes to the stuff that Xbox is selling on their store, and it's not just Game Pass, though Game Pass is part of that equation, you have a lot of access to a lot of different games, right? That's why I recommend you guys go watch Hebot's channel because he be pulling games out left and right that I didn't even know. Because it's hard to keep up, which is the problem, right? That's why I push back so much on the hypocrisy of the gaming media. Right, sitting here telling stuff like recently. Hold on, what was the recent one that came out? This like comic book news. Definitely a site I wouldn't recommend. Right? But I just saw the headline. I clicked on it because kind of needed something to talk about. But it basically says new Xbox Game Pass announcement leaves subscribers word it's dying. Right. So that's the headline right now in the gaming media, and it's been like that nonstop. I mean, definitely the early years of the Xbox One was way worse, especially when the console war was popping off the way it was. Xbox put a kibosh on that just for the simple fact of the moves that they made. So most I agree with, most I love, but a few, as you guys know, I made my feelings known on this channel that I do not agree with. Right? But that's neither here nor there. The point being is that the gaming media still follows the beat of that drum, right? And this is why I sit here and I tell you guys on my channel that it's more than just them just wanting clicks and views, right? It's about ideology. It's about a mindset, right? No, ideology is a strong word. I'll say mindset, right? Because a lot of these guys, like I tell you before, most of these dudes in the gaming media grew up in a PlayStation era, right? It's just like if I was back in the day when I grew up, I grew up in when Atari was big, and Atari was all right. When I went to the arcades, Atari is the one that was putting out all the stuff. There's other companies, but they were the biggest kid. They're the biggest name in the block, dude. And even to this day, dude, that brand still is still recognizable by most of us. Now I know the generations could change that, or you see that happening in the real world. But my point being is, I mean, that's the level of the hypocrisy again that the media has to put out a story like this, dude. And if you guys, again, if you're in the ecosystem, right, you guys know none of this is true, right? And the reason why they're saying that is they're talking about the level of games being dropped from Game Pass. And then when I look at the list, dude, a couple things that you have to know when it comes to Game Pass, dude. A lot of the games that are leaving at the end of the month, um, they've been in there for a while, right? For some, I don't know how Microsoft is able to do this. I know that they released another. There was another article that talked about how much money Xbox spent on indie developers, which was 5 billion, which is good, right? And it's good for the indie developers. Again, guys like Hebot, guys like Sega Man will sit there and tell you that these dudes get paid, right? They pay these people up front, and whatever deals and payment could be like straight up just buying your paying for everything or making deals, whatever they do. But at the end of the day, the indie developers, man, they're not wanting. And then there's been a couple of stories where it didn't work out the way it some of the developers I've seen a couple of stories, and by a couple I mean like maybe three or four, where some studios spoke out and said it wasn't a fit for them, but the media takes it and runs with it. I know one guy was very caustic about it, but the other people, when they're talking about it, they're talking it from a business perspective. It's like they expected these type of numbers, expected this type of turnaround. I'm pretty sure they had discussions with Microsoft, and it just didn't work out that way, man. And that's how it is sometimes, dude. You can look in your local area, man. There's places that you might go and eat and just think the food is great, and think, but then they don't do business, and then maybe they close down after a year, and you're sitting, oh, wonder why the food is so good. There's a plethora of reasons, man. Economy, right? The word doesn't get out. Maybe your taste is different from the general population. There's all of these things that you take into consideration, and it happens in real time. Right? That's why I don't. When I see stories like that, dude, I just take it for what it is. And again, some of them are just the people talking about the actual experience of being on Game Pass. Maybe they thought they were gonna. Maybe if it's a multiplayer game, they're gonna get more people engaged, right? Maybe some of their. Maybe if you put a game together that's multiplayer, you're gonna base it on a economic system that's going to be pay for play, right? Sometimes that works out, sometimes it don't, and it's brutal right now, dude. And not just because of the economy, man, but the competition in gaming is nuts, dude. If you guys looking at, dude, I sit here every day, man. You guys know I've been talking about Avowed the most. That's the game I've been playing the most. That's why I talk about it the most. I'm in the third. I think I'm in the third. Wait, let me see. Paradise. I'm in the fourth act, right? Yeah, because I went to Shatterscar. Now I'm in this other area where the dwarves are. Or Paragon as they call them or whatever, but they're dwarves. And it's a harsh, brutal landscape, lava, dry, right? And the map in and of itself, and I think it was Sega Man that mentioned this. One of the guys mentioned it. I'm pretty sure it was Sega Man. But you go into this map, dude, and I thought, it seems like I'm wrapping the game up. And I go into this map, and I didn't think it was going to be as big as it is, but it is absolutely huge comparatively to the other maps. Shatterstar was Shatterstar was pretty big. I mean, not unmanageable, man. But if you guys have a life for it, it's hard. But where I'm at right now, dude, it's no joke, right? And then I've so the way that I play it, right, I have to kind of time my playing and stuff like that, right? Because like I got work, you know. As know, like I said, I hurt my back, dude. I couldn't do much gaming for a couple of days, dude. I couldn't do anything, dude. I couldn't even watch anything. Sometimes I would watch something, yeah, just because I could, lay down and be in that position. But that doesn't last long, so I haven't been able to do those kind of things, right? But the thing that I found really interesting. Oh, hold on, guys. Let me check something. What is that? You guys can hear me, right? Oh, okay. I think it's okay. Sorry, guys. Just really quick interruption here. Let me make sure that this thing is streaming. Ah, there we go. I see it. There we go. Okay. You know what? I usually keep this open, but let me shut this now. I see that it's streaming. It's fine. I'll shut that down now because I don't want to. I don't want to get confused and be in the wrong spot. Yeah. So I try and manage it um, as best I can. So for example, I'll start the game up. I'm like, okay, I know I got this mission here. I got these two side quests. I can knock them out like within an hour. Right. That's all. That's not the only time I have. But that's so much time as I have to play. Then 2.5 hours later, right? Because I'm in this section, right? Because it's so much broader than I thought it was, and the story is actually pretty good. Like this is the to me this is my measure of a good game. It's a game that makes you forget about time, right? Because then I went from finishing the two things. No, actually, I only finished two of them. There's three things specifically. I didn't even get to touch the third thing because as I was going through the mission objectives, the third area is a little bit farther away, and on the way there, I started doing other stuff. Right, I try and keep it a little bit tight, right, so I don't get too lost. I don't get too lost in the story, right? I like to be, because if I do that, that's one of the great things about Avowed. You really can't. That's the problem I have with most RPGs is I'll just sit there and redo areas and go through stuff, level up and stuff like that. You can't really do that involved Avowed. Right? They keep you on that. They keep you on that. And I don't want to use the word rail because it's not rail. It's not what I mean. But they keep you. They keep you moving in the direction they want you to move in, right? And it makes sense because it is a story-driven game. There's a lot of story to it. In fact, that's what takes the longest about. Right? That's why I don't think I'm going to finish it anytime soon because I'm actually doing the story arcs in there and weaving the story the way that I want to participate in it, what I like about it. And that's through the companions you have, the stuff that's going on in the story, the companions you select, who you talk to, who you don't talk to, the choices you make when you're having conversations, basically like those old books when I was growing up, right? If you go down a certain path, like the story ends one way. If you go back and read the story and go to another path, it ends another way. That's kind of what they're doing in Obsidian's about. That's how I know about the woke stuff that's in there, right? Because I've actually been going through the pages of the game, and there is some woke stuff in there. Um, but again, it's the way Microsoft does stuff, right? But again, I'm not telling you guys something you don't know. Microsoft supports certain initiatives, right, that I don't agree with, but it is what it is. One thing I do appreciate about what they're doing, what they do is that they don't force it down my throat. So if it bothers me so much, I wouldn't necessarily play it. I've put so much time into the game that I'm just gonna finish it out. Now later on, if Obsidian does something, right, and I already know what their background is, I've seen what the art director said and how he was popping off about certain things. He's actually, this tells me he's a radical. He's a radical leftist, dude. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. So that is a bad taste in my mouth, dude. And again, at the end of the day, it boils down to me and how I like to consume my content, dude. I don't like the reality being broken for me. Right? I mean, I don't like when I'm trying to enjoy something, right, and then something comes in that breaks that reality for me. Right? And anytime you use real world events, I'm not saying that you can't reference it or use it in a story or make allusions to it and stuff like that, but please make it in a generalized sense. Because another problem when media does this, any type of media does this, is later on if they're wrong, or more importantly, if whatever trend they're following on or whatever movement you're following on actually doesn't work out. This is why in most stories, man, it's always having it's generalized as well, but the themes that gaming uses, comic books use, movies. They follow a certain trend in the current media, and that can be bad, in my opinion. Right? Just do the timeless, just do the classic, dude, and let your talent work around that. Again, I love using Superman as an example of this, right? Because he is the hardest character, in my opinion, to write for, right? Because he's so set as a, he is the prototype of what a superhero should be, right? It's and so it's, to me, it's harder to write for Superman than it is for a character like Batman, because Batman has shades of gray, so you can operate in that, especially given our society now. Right? Superman is so foreign. The concepts of Superman, the way Superman as a character is, the way the creators of Superman wanted him to be portrayed, it's such a difficult thing in our modern times, right? That's why I think he's actually harder to write for, right? But let your talent and let your ability set the standard if you're going to create stories, either for Superman or somebody like Superman. Case in point, one of my favorite animes of all time is My Hero Academia, and they have a character called All Might in there, and he's definitely the Superman of the story, right? Just the way the character, how he's written, it's that, and you can tell the person who created that is his perception of American superheroes, but specifically when it relies on the archetype of what Superman is. There's a little bit of Captain America in there as well, but definitely Superman is. If anybody who reads a comic book, or read a comic book, like grew up reading comic books, will listen to, will watch the anime or read the manga and realize what type of character All Might is, and he's a pretty cool character as well, right? But it's just somebody taking that prototype of what a Superman character is and making it in their own way. And that's what I mean by it being difficult to do that, right? Because there's people automatically identify of who the hero is. That's that the guy is emulated, right? And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that's the way it is. But if you can take something like that and make it your own, and then make it entertaining on top of that, it checks all the boxes, right? And then that's what I'm coming back to about. That's why I'm playing these certain games, right? And there's just certain content they put in there that takes me out of the fantasy, dude. The thing about fantasy, right? When it comes to relationship and love and stuff like that, I mean, even in standard, right? If it's, it doesn't even have to go the LG whatever the alphabet thing route. Just romance and stuff in general, right? That I mean, very few people have, especially nowadays, man. People can't write it. So I watch so many Korean dramas, right? It's kind of a throwback, but anyway, my point being, anything that breaks the illusion for me, dude, I can't do it. Right? I just can't. It's just, and then I have so much content now. I don't have to. I don't have to waste my time on something. Though, and look, this is not a hit on about a solid as far as the combat system. I really love gameplay is solid, dude. Story's pretty good. Right? I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but I've read so many books, and you know, I'm kind of jaded in that sense. So if you can keep my attention, dude, I think that's awesome. And of course, the mechanic of what Obsidian does, man, they're able to do that with the storytelling and stuff like that. Um, and it has a good pace, good clip. You can tell, dude, this is kind of their, I want to say their magnum opus, but it's this level. They're leveling up, right, from some of the other content that they've created. And it's not just the technology, dude. It's a beautiful game. Again, don't care for the character designs. Some of the characters, they don't make sense to me, but it is what it is. It's not distracting. They're not ugly, right? It's just I just think they're poor choices for the characters. But in some aspects, man, when you look at the environment, the worlds and stuff like that, how beautiful it looks, it's amazing to me. So definitely for me, it's an 8 out of 10. Now that I've got a chance to really put it through its paces. 8 out of 10 solid. There's some stuff that they could definitely work on, but again, it's Obsidian, and they have the potential. After this game, they have the potential. If they don't lose their minds, right? They have the potential to be that AAA studio. In fact, you see that a lot with what Microsoft has with their first party right now. A lot of these guys, they're coming from the ground up. They're building them from scratch, and in some instances it shows, man. But the thing I can really respect about what Xbox is doing with their studios is they're letting them cook. I mean, that shows. I mean, this game is very Obsidian like. Like if you didn't know who the developer was and you played it, in your mind as you played it, it's kind of like an Obsidian game. It has that trademark, which it should, in my opinion, right? But you can tell, man, they're taking it to the next level. And I can't wait for State of Decay to come out, dude. Love State of Decay 1 and 2. 3 is the one I've been waiting on the most. I know it's been taking a while for them to put it out, but that's another thing with this is the thing I like about Xbox and what they can do, especially with Microsoft backing them, right? Look, you don't have to buy. Look, I sit here. In fact, we can talk about that as well, about companies I want Microsoft to buy because they have the money to do so, and then the console aspect of it. We can talk about that. I can go through those through the paces on those again. But at the end of the day, the most important thing about this is that Microsoft has the ability with their Xbox brand to let the studios under the Xbox brand actually take their time and put the game out that they want to put out. I know there's some jostling. You hear about it in all the behind the scenes stuff, right? You guys know we bleed green here, so this is the stuff we keep up with. Um, that there's some creative decisions or some politicking that goes on, which I don't sweat it, guys. It happens in all industries, right? As long as it doesn't get out of control or people lose their minds, right? Especially given the current climate again of everything that's going on in the country. As long as they stay focused on making a good product for both well, ultimately for their consumers, right? But also for the studios involved and the people that work on those projects. So I'm not sweating State of Decay 3. Yes, would I want it to come out now? Yes, perfectly fine. But when I turn around, they're gonna drop South of Midnight went gold. I saw that, and that's gonna be in April. And then Towerborn got announced for April. They dropped Immortal 33, which I played. And when you look at a game like Immortal 33 or 33 Immortal, it blows my mind because it seems so simple, and it kind of is. It's easy to jump in and start playing it. It's a little confusing. You got to kind of get your senses around you as you're playing the game because there's so much stuff going on. Um, but it's definitely more than what I thought it would be. I can see the appeal of the game, but again, it's also entering a market that's very heavily inundated with games like that. So what is the little and there's some things I didn't play it for a long time. I played it for a couple hours, but even in a couple hours, I can see like where they're trying to carve out their own little path in these type of games and stuff like that. I don't know about the whole pay for play or the charging and stuff like that. If you want to go buy stuff, you definitely. I think that deep into it has that potential. I don't know. But one thing I did like was the community there because when I was playing, there's a couple players that came up. They could tell I was lost. I didn't know what was going on, and so a couple people stuck by me, right, so I can get my wits about me as far as progressing in the game, and then some people would like kind of drag me along. And then of course you have your other people that are just going off doing their own thing. You can tell that they're a lot more powerful. Right? They've been playing the game. I don't know how they got that high that fast. I don't know. I don't know all about that, but so far in my experience, the community is good, and you need games like that. This is for all of the people out there. If a pony comes across this, if our boy Cygnus comes in and starts talking his stuff, at the end of the day, this is the type of games that Sony's trying to put forth. And I don't know if 33 Immortals is an exclusive to Xbox. I think it's on all platforms. I mean, when a game like that, a lot of people say you want it on all platforms. Now, maybe Microsoft helped them or paid for it. It definitely was shown. A lot of people associated with Xbox because they were shown at the showcases and stuff like that, and Xbox Wire and stuff like that. Xbox has been pushing it, so it could be. Again, busy. Haven't been doing that deep dive. Again, that's why we're doing a hangout like this because I can't get into the minutia of a lot of things, dude. Because I've just been playing games mostly about, like I said. Um, but again, man, you look at what Xbox is doing, dude. And then going back to this article, I'll share it. I'll share this because so that I don't. I'm not gonna read the articles, guys. I'm just gonna put it up here so I can stay focused, right? Because I'm going to kind of go off the rails, as you can see here with this article. Again, talking about how so many games, and there are a lot of games leaving in March. But if you look at the games that are leaving, several of them have been on the service for a while. Another thing to keep in mind too is that there's my buddy. Dude, these guys they're mad at me because I bought again. Sorry I'm gonna kind of go off here. So I think I told you guys about 2 videos ago that I actually bought this bird be gone because when I do these podcasts, right, these birds are irritating. They have no fear here, dude. It's one thing about living here, man. When people let these birds, these are parakeets, out in the wild, they don't have no natural predators, man. In some areas in the mainland where there's actually birds of prey that'll take these birds out. You know what I mean? We don't have that here, right? And so I actually bought this bird be gone Sonic thing, and it seems to be doing the trick, at least where I put it. Right? I have to figure out what I'm going to do about my attic in my house. And again, for some of those guys that come across these videos, what does you want? Dude, I always didn't have a problem with birds. I have a problem with birds now because they're causing damage to my house and it's costing me money. So these things need to die. So they declared war. So I'm gonna have a lethal response. Unfortunately, I live in a place where I can't get certain things mailed to me. Right, that's just the way it is here. But one of the things I was able to get was this sonic deterrent thing from Bird-B-Gon, and it seems to be doing the trick, man. Because these guys want to come where I do my podcast from is near the balcony, and they want to come over to this side, man, because they actually punch holes through the meshing. That's how like most birds can't do that here, but these birds were able to do it because they have they're parakeets, man. They have strong beaks, and they're really smart, dude. They're really intelligent. I caught one and I put it in a cage, man. And when I was at work and I came back, because I caught it, put it in a box, but then I had a cage, so I put him in a cage. So I didn't want him to suffer. And it has a lock on the cage, right, for the doors. So I was pretty confident he wouldn't be able to get out. What ended up happening when I came home, dude, he was out of the cage. And I was looking at that. Then I looked up and across they had him and all his little crew, man, about five of them. And they were standing there looking at me. And I was like, oh, okay, I see how it is. Yeah, they're really smart birds, man. I knew that they were, but until now that I've experienced it. Sorry, guys. I know I'm getting distracted, but I had to put that out there for you guys. That's pretty nuts. So you probably won't. You still hear it, man, because these birds are loud. They're flying all over the neighborhood. But what place they can't come? They can't come to my house, or they can't land in the area where they want to, because that's where they nested, and they want to go over there. And I think they have a couple. I think they might have eggs or something up there, because they keep on wanting to come back. So I'm gonna have to step up my game. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Yeah, sorry, dude. You were coming in when I'm giving my bird update. This is just a hangout, dude. Nothing official. I mean, there's some stuff like I'm gonna talk about the fake news over here. These guys saying that Xbox Game Pass guys subscribers are worried it's dying. The only people that's worried it's dying, and the only people that want it to die, Daniel, is actually the gaming media. They talk about it all the time. Right? Xbox, they like what's the other, and I will talk about that after. But of course, the console sales are always a thing, right? They keep on bringing it back up. They got new stories now, right? Sony again has sold another billion consoles. What's Microsoft going to do? They can't keep up, even though Sony's not even on the same league as Microsoft as far as money is concerned. And that's the funny thing about it, right? When they mention PlayStation, they have no problem mentioning Sony. But if you say Xbox, it's just Xbox. That's the way they read it, right? Right? They don't like it when you say Microsoft, right? Because Microsoft is the big boy in the room. It's up there with Apple. It's up there with the big boys, and Sony's down they're at the kids table. Right? That's their level, right? Where Microsoft is at the adults table. Microsoft, Amazon, all those guys, they're on that level, the $1 trillion level, right? Where Sony's on the what billion maybe. They keep on telling me billion, man, but I really would like to know what their expenses are, like the output of their money, not just the money they bring in, but the money that they put out. And it's a lot. It's a lot that's going on because you can tell because of the moves that they're making to keep themselves financially secure. But kudos to Sony, man, given the economic times, dude. That and again, that's to the power of their branding, right? I saw something in passing because I follow the news all the time. Sony's actually working on what was that? Like a flying car. Right. That's the stuff that Sony's into, which is fine, dude. It's very technology focused, man. That's kind of one of their fortes with Sony. I mean, it's not they're not groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination, but like a lot of Japanese companies, their ability to ultra focus on stuff and come up with some really good with merchandise and stuff like that. That's what they do. But yeah, Daniel, thanks for being here, brother. But yeah, so as soon as I see this, of course, you guys know I'm in the ecosystem like most of you. Right? It just makes absolutely no sense to us why it would be dying when they're just constantly dropping games. And again, ever since the inception of Game Pass, right, we all knew what that was, what that service was going to be, like a Netflix-like service. So some stuff stays in, some stuff goes out. I think one of the greatest things that they do is they follow the Netflix formula, but actually keeping these games in for long periods of time. And on top of that, having the diversity of games and the portfolio, the diversity in their portfolio of games in Game Pass. It's not just them putting out games just to put out games. Dude. You have every type of game in there. Which, when I first, that's one of the concerns. If you guys, well, I don't know if you guys listened to me back then, but one of my concerns, right, is like, okay, how are they going to pull this off? Because if you put an RPG in there, right, just that person is just going to be constantly playing that RPG and not try the other games. Of course, Xbox being Xbox and being under Microsoft, I'm pretty sure they ran all the numbers and they came away with all the right formulas, right? And they were like, okay, let's run this thing, and it's worked, right? Upwards of 40 million subscribers. Again, not on the level they wanted it to be, but let's give them some slack. I give them some slack just for the simple fact we went through a total pandemic, went through a pandemic with a total global supply chain shutdown, right? Mr. Kima, welcome, brother. Satya Nadella sits on the board at Netflix. Yeah, and he's also friends with Reed Hastings. Um, and they've talked about that. Like that's they've not been shy about that, Mr. Kima. I know. I've seen other reports where they talked about following that formula. Now, of course, with gaming, you have a little bit of a different connection with your audience, right? Like, um, there's a show that dropped. There's a movie that dropped on Netflix. Man, dude, it's with Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt. Electric something. And I started watching that, dude, but then, I'm like, okay, I gotta, something came up. I forgot what it was. And I couldn't go back to it. But with Netflix, I can always go back and watch it. But I tend to try and make time because I like to watch stuff, especially if it's movies, all at one time. I don't like to break it up. Right. That's the way I consume my media. But yeah, not surprising at all. I mean, for guys like us, Mr. Keeper, because we keep up with this. But I think a lot of people outside of the know would be surprised. Like the person who wrote this article. He's like, oh no, they're and look, there's some good games leaving. So if you're gonna be sad about anything, if you haven't got a chance to play these games, you have like about 2 weeks. No, wait, what is it? Well, about a week to play the games. I would recommend you play the games because it's in Game Pass, right? So and then if you're doing the report card thing like I am, that's what I'm hyper focused on. Not really on achievements, but for some reason it bothers. I want my report card to be good, right? So I do focus on that. You have all these games that you just jump in and play and get credit for playing. Added to that, how many games did you play? Now, how many games you finished? How many games did you play? Again, that's another thing about being an Xbox guy. That's hard. Yeah, but Mr. Kima, thanks for being here, dude. I saw that. Hey, but drop anything else, Mr. Kima, you want to say, dude? This is a chat. This is basically an all-in chat, but I'm just doing a Hangout aspect of it because there's some stuff I can just hit on, touch and go. Because if I need to land my plane and dig out, then I have that option. Because my kids are coming back from Japan today, so I just don't know when they're going to come. I can't keep up with it. Keep up with that stuff, dude. Yeah, I can barely keep up with Xbox stuff now, let alone this stuff. But thanks for being here, brother. But drop anything you guys want to drop in the chat, please do so. But again, if you look at the games, some of those games have been there for a while. Another thing to keep in mind, guys, is when they put it in Game Pass, it's like think about it as a demo disc, right? You're getting to try the games out, right? For a lot of people, you can actually finish the games. If you hyper focus, like I'm doing with the Valve, I could finish that game. Even though before they even think about taking that out of service, which I don't think they will because it's Obsidian. Anyway, any type of game that you were like Lamplighters League, right? Tried it out a little bit, never got back to it, and I'm not saying it's bad. It's just we get so much content, and I hate to say this, man. I'm at this age where this thing's just I don't have that mental capacity like I used to when I was younger. And plus, again, credit to man, who is that? That car is ultra loud. I don't have the mental capacity I did as I was younger, and even the physical capacity. Actually, if I'm being honest with you, reflexes are a bit slower now. And then my tastes have changed since I was younger, than when I was a younger gamer and stuff like that. I do like a lot more variety now. But it's just you're just inundated with games constantly, dude. It's like a nonstop thing. And again, this is why none of this stuff makes sense to us, right? Because we're fighting and struggling to play all these games. Man. I just played the Lonely Outpost. I'm playing that as well. But getting back to Lamplighters League, dude, I never got into it the way that I wanted to, and that was a game I was really looking forward to when it dropped. I actually like the publisher and the developers that make those games, man. In fact, I'm gonna do more reactions, not reactions, but we'll run the video, we'll do the showcases and stuff like that because a couple of them dropped and I never got around to doing them. But I'll definitely I might do one today, a little bit later. But that's one of the games I'm looking forward to. So, and one of the things happened is I never jumped back into it because I knew I was going to buy it. Is my point, right? So if you do these games, just keep in mind, man. Just look at what, and I'm talking for guys like us that are in the ecosystem and people that own Xboxes, especially. You guys should be looking at these games and looking at it in the store because the Yakuza collection was like, man, it was super cheap. Like I think it was like $20 for all the. It was like I don't think Kiwami was in there, so I'll probably go buy that this before it leaves. I don't think Kiwami was like a dragon or a Yakuza Kiwami. I'm trying to remember, but I had bought the regular Yakuza story set. It was all in a collection, and I bought them all, so I own them already. So I would highly recommend that you guys do that, dude. A lot of times when you put games in Game Pass, and you have to, if you can do that, notice the trend, right? So for example, when they dropped Indiana Jones, the game, right? And there's something in the back of my mind that sits there and goes, if they drop the game and then the game got some heat in the beginning, of course we have you have the 30 point curve, right? When it comes to Xbox is gonna get, you gotta give a 30 point curve to that bad boy, right? Because automatically it's gonna get hatred, even regardless of what the genre is, right? It's always gonna get hatred. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind, right? But it weathered the storm, right? A lot of us played it, right? And we realized how good it was. Then other people, right? They went out on recommendations, so they started taking a chance and realized this is the Indiana game that they've been waiting for. Especially if you're a huge Indiana Jones fan, this is the indie game that you've been waiting for your whole entire life, right? And then they got excited and they got involved, right? And then the buzz got more positive, and then the people playing it started to grow, and people realized, hey, this is a great game, right? So what ended up happening, and I kind of jumped the gun on this because I thought it was going to happen, but I went about the collection, the Indiana Jones collection, 4K UHD. It was sold on the Microsoft Store. Just went ahead and bought it. I have the DVDs, and so I bought it. I have the box set physical, so I just bought it digital. And so I was like, it cost $50, which was on sale at the time. Well, you know what they did? Like a week or two later, they actually dropped it down to 20. Right, and that's the buzz, right? And then that's the synergy that I like to talk about on this channel, right? When you see stuff like that. So if you guys want to save some money, right, and learn to read the tea leaves, right, just keep that in mind, right? Anytime I see a movie that's going to go into Netflix, like if there's a movie that goes into Netflix that's popular or new, all I do is go to the Microsoft Store, and it's usually at that 9.99 level. You know what I'm saying? Like what movie did I buy? Was it Sonic 3? So I bought Sonic 3 on digital on Xbox Store. And oh no, that was just a regular sale. That was a regular sale. And what other movie? But there's certain movies that ended up on Netflix, and I was like, oh, it's on Netflix now. So I go to the store, it's on sale, and it's a movie that I like, or I know that I would like, so I'm just gonna buy it. Or it's part of a series of movies that I like. I do that a lot with the every time they do the anime month on Microsoft, so you can go and buy the season stuff because they have it for like $4. Now it's getting a little bit more expensive, especially with all the stuff going on with Crunchyroll, Sony, and all the other anime stuff, anime companies, right? So now you see it kind of going up, maybe 7.99. Some go down to 4.99, then but 7.99, 9.99. Pick and choose, guys. Either way, man. Anything less than $10 doesn't. I don't find that that's perfect for me, especially when it comes to digital content. It doesn't bother me, right? Again, like I tell you guys all the time, when it comes to digital, that's how I consume it. I look at the price because I'm not gonna pay full price for digital because someday you can lose the rights to it because we don't own it. Right? Maybe when there's some bill of rights, digital game bill of, or digital media bill of rights that people have been bantering about online. Maybe if they do that, maybe under current administration, we might get something like that. I don't know. But that would be great. That would give me more of an assurance to go buy the stuff. Like actually give me the license for it, right? Because right now you don't own it. Right? Again, if Hebot and Sega Man were here, they'd be talking about this in detail. Okay, and they talk about it in detail because they are out of our group. They're the hardcore physical guys. I like to do physical and stuff like that. It's hard now, guys. It's hard for me again. Um, like a dragon, and I feel bad because we were shopping. I was shopping. The focus wasn't. I just stopped by the GameStop and they had it there. I should have bought it, but I didn't because I was buying stuff for my kid, right? And so I was like, dude, man, I should have picked it up. Why didn't I pick it up? Right? And then on top of that, dude, I just got so much games I'm trying to catch up on. Again, that's first world problems, right? When it comes to Xbox, which kills the narrative that Xbox has no games. Xbox has way too many games. And if you're actually playing your games, which is why I can't stand most of these people, is because I don't think they game. Or if they game, they just do it for their job, or they just jump in, dip in, dip out. I'm dipping in and dipping out on some of this stuff, dude, because I don't have the time, right? And even I can see at the level that I'm at, dude, that I can see that Xbox is untouchable when it comes to games, both in quality, variety, and sheer amount of and numbers, just the sheer amount of games that are out there. Like there's very few things that can take me away from gaming. Right. And I'm not saying this is my absolute focus, but in that microcosm I live in when it comes to popular culture, the gaming is definitely up there because we have so much content to play, so much quality content to play, so much variety in the content they make. Not every game needs to be AAA. In fact, I recommend you try as much as you can because you're gonna miss out on experiences. If your only focus is AAA, then you end up like a PlayStation pony on their side of the aisle, right? Because that's why they're having such a hard time right now. Because they've trained themselves only to like a certain type of game from a certain type of genre, right? And this is why they're limited in the content they have on their on their console. And they've always been that way, dude. Now the veil's being lifted. People are beginning to see the truth when it comes to PlayStation, right? That it is about their third parties, right? It's just that Microsoft is making a little bit more noise. They're taking it very seriously now, or Xbox making more noise. They've taken it more seriously, and then Microsoft definitely coming in with the backup, right? So where Microsoft on that level can compete. But anyway, I just thought this was an interesting article. This guy talks about it just because of the simple fact they're losing games, they're losing some bangers, that's for sure, right? So from a perspective of you're not a gamer on the level that where I buy my games and stuff like that. Maybe you're just a person that's in the service, right? And maybe you just came in a couple months ago, didn't have time to finish these games, right? I can see that. I can see that people having that type of thing, right? But at the end of the day, if you look at the suite of games releasing between now and then going into April, it's absolutely nuts, dude. It's nuts. Dude, across the board, every type of genre you can imagine, every game from every type of genre. Now, whether you like the game or not, dude, that's the great thing about Game Pass, dude. You're investing your time, but you don't have to give, and you're investing time and money, dude. You're paying for it again. I make that a point here, right? To let people know you are paying for it. So definitely look at that. But given overall paying $70, right, for a game that you might not like, you just want to try out. Right. This is why I hope the subscription services does get to the $100 million subscriber count, right? Because that'll give Microsoft and Xbox with their Game Pass service a little bit more flexibility with some of the stuff they do. Because I like what they're doing. Now, who's to say that they turn evil, right? Turn to the dark side and start going crazy, right? Turn into some of these other gaming companies out there, right? But that's never been Microsoft forte for the last 2 decades, if I'm being honest, right? And I'm not saying that it can change, but the path that we're on, I would want them to take that chance, right? Which we can kind of we can switch we can switch let me see. Nope. Switch gears and talk about something else that I wanted to talk about. We kind of talked about it last week in the podcast. In fact, was it last week that I did? Am I supposed to do the wrecking crew today? I thought, or did we do it last week? Dude, I can't keep up. But at first, I think we're supposed to do the wrecking crew, so my apologies. But anyway, if the guys want, if people come in, they can. Maybe you can comment in the chat and stuff like that. That's fine. But okay, so definitely next week I'll do a wrecking crew. In fact, what I'll do is maybe I'll switch the wrecking crews back to the Friday nights, and then start doing the podcast on the Saturdays. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. Saturday morning, so I want to start talking about pop culture more. Because the way that I'm so into gaming right now, but it's mostly to play games. Again, Avowed, man. Avowed takes up a lot of my time, dude. That game is not. If you want to experience the story and stuff like that, dude, it's. Dude, I was talking to like I'm in this one part of the game where I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this person inside my head, and dude, that storyline, dude, because I'm trying to talk to other characters to get a fuller, and even not about the choices I'm about to make. I don't really care. I'll just go down that route, whatever it is, what it is, because I know I'm gonna replay this game again, right? Because this run through is a practice, right? When I really want to build a character and enjoy the game on the level I want to, will be on the next character I play through, right? So I'm just going through it, man, trying to end it, but it's so hard, man, because there's so much dialogue and there's so much story, right? And I have to like to experience the way that I want to experience. It's taking time to the point where I'm gonna have to put this game on the back burner, because I gotta finish up my season for COD. And I'm gonna start that today. I didn't even level up on the game. Because I'm supposed to be playing Genshin Impact. Dude, I'm still stuck at, I think I'm at level 10, 9, 10 or something like that. I'm supposed to be at level 16 by now, so I can play with my daughter. Right, and I started a couple other games. Granted, with the exception of one of them, which was Lonely Outpost, which I really want to continue. The rest of them was just to kind of, I wouldn't mind playing them, I just don't have the time. But I just definitely wanted to check it out. Again, first world problems, guys. First world problems. But when it comes to gaming, man, dude, Microsoft, dude, if you're a gamer, man, you need an Xbox, right? You should have an Xbox, and you should have Game Pass. If you purport to be a gamer, man, that's all I'm saying on that level, right? If I could retire, I would. If I had the money, where I could just sit back and do this. You could literally, this could be my job. Is just playing Game Pass and just doing stuff online, talking about Game Pass. That's how much stuff they have. Regardless of my age and how slow I am at completing games and stuff like that, but it's just the games have changed. It's not like the games that we played back in the day. Yeah, there's definitely some of that still in the DNA when you play an RPG or you play a fighting game and stuff like that. But dude, or even a shooter. But at this point in time, right now, there's just so much. Um, it's just so different now. Dude. It's just they're not one and dones like they used to be. There's definitely games like that, but even those games are at least 15 hours, right? And so a lot of these games are also giving you the option. Like there's this one game that dropped. Let me try and find it. Dude. Let me go to because I do want to talk about this. Oh, I don't even need this. What am I doing? I just go to the game. So there's a game that dropped called Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island. So I talked to you guys about the way that I like. I love Greek mythology, especially. Always have. And so this is kind of like Whitehorn Games is the developer, and it's called Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island. So it looks like they did their twist on what the mythology is. Kind of like it looks like a comedic tragedy. That's what I'm gaining from the trailer. Look, dude, and then look, I know people's like, look, dude, their game's woke or whatever. I don't know, right? But I just want to check it out because I like Greek mythology, right? So if it ends up being something that I don't like, then I'll just stop playing it. But again, it's in Game Pass, so I can at least try it out, right? Mullet Mad Jack. I forgot who was talking about that last week. Might have been Sega Man. I think it was Sega Man. Haven't even touched that. I want to play it. I'm playing One Lonely Outpost. That's the name of the game that I'm playing right now. Actually, love this. You guys know it. I say it all the time on my channel, dude. I've always loved Sims. I love Sims. I always love Sims. And the great thing about Sims now, dude, is it's not totally like 100% Sim, right? There's some action RPG elements in some of these ones. This one, not per se. Like it's kind of more story driven, which is cool, right? But this is not your daddy's Sim games, right? So, and by daddy I mean me because I'm old. But Monster Train is something I want to check out. That everybody's been talking about. Ubisoft dropped Watch Dogs Legion into that I never played into Game Pass. Balatro is the indie hit of the year so far, from what I'm seeing online. What everybody, the buzz on this is super high, right? F124 drop. What else came in? Rogue Trader. Haven't even touched that. You guys know I love Warhammer. I'm playing Avowed, so I know that's going on. Dude, I forgot Citizen Sleeper 2 dropped. Again, I'm probably maybe because everything that's going on with Ubisoft. Ubisoft also has Far Cry New Dawn. That's probably why Ubisoft Plus is on Game Pass. It's probably a deal that they worked out. Eternal Strands, dude, I fell off of that. Haven't even touched Sniper Elite, man. I love the Sniper Elite games. Thank God I don't love Madden, because Madden would be a problem too. Not a big Madden guy. And then Ninja Gaiden Black. I started playing that pretty hardcore, then I dropped off. Then didn't get back into Gigantic, right? So that's the struggle, man. This is I'm not look, dude. I don't sit here and tell you guys stuff just to say stuff, man. This is the reality for me, especially. I know some of you young guns, man. I know some of those dudes that hang out in the group, man. You guys are a high level, right? You guys can just knock these things out. That's not just me. So plus, it depends on the games that you're playing too. Some are easier to do than others, that's for sure. And then you come down here, dude, and then a lot of these games are on sale, which is my point, right? Now, some of these sales are kind of funny the way that they put it, most of it for DLC. But at the end of the day, guys, if you have Game Pass, man, and you're worried about these games dropping off, look, and that's the thing, man. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your experience, but if this is a problem for you, man, you're gonna have to work out a plan. And I hate saying that because I hate doing that. I mean, this is like a job, it's stuff you do at your job, right? Just like yesterday, man, I was out sick for 2 days, man. The stuff that I needed to get done, right, was piling up, man. So the rest of the week, especially when it fell on Friday, everything fell on to the point where I had to literally just document it out, take time out of the day before, kind of document everything out. Then when I came in on Friday, because it's the last day of the week, I had to hit it all, hit the ground running, man. I just did bing, 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 right? And then one of the systems was down, so that fell off the map. But I didn't have no time to even adjust for that. I just kept on going. Right? That's how my day was yesterday. It was that crazy. Right? Which is good, man. It makes the day go by faster. I like that. Right? I like the people that I like the people that I work with, man. They have a good clip. Some of them are really the way that they move and stuff like that. They're hardcore, so you got to keep up with them. But But that's good, man. I like that. Dude. I like that at the end of the day. And then everybody's like, they follow the procedures. I'm kind of like that as well, dude. Their knowledge base is really strong. So if I get stuck somewhere, I can ask them. This is a new area that I'm in. Um, and so, dude. But then yesterday, dude, boom, boom, boom. Before you know it, they're like, hey, um, everybody, good job today. You guys go home, enjoy the weekend. And then that's what I did, man. I came home and I was tired. Again, I wasn't feeling good all week. Right, so I was struggling with that, man. My body, dude, it was bad. And so, but I'm recovering, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, man. So, but I ain't gonna lie, I came yesterday. I just slept, so I didn't get to do anything. I actually wanted to do the podcast last night, so I can do the pop culture stuff today. So that's why I'm doing this hangout now. I'm just throwing it all out there. But hold on, let me share this. Hold on, guys. Let me try and get back to this. Can I share this? I hope I can. Bummer, I can't. I thought I could, but I can't. Yeah, that makes sense. It's on another. Yeah, but just that's just a list of the games, right? And then you go to the game deals, man. They have Persona 5 Royal on sale. I already own that. Don't have to worry about it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Wrath of the Mutant is on sale for 55% off. So if you haven't picked that up, it's for $13.49. Metaphor Refantasio, right? I wanted a physical. I thought I ordered this from Amazon. I gotta go check, but it's on sale, 25% off, 52.49. Persona 4 Golden. Oh, I already own that. Most of these games on sale, I own already. Persona 3, I own that already. Life is Strange is 40% off if you guys like that series. Oh, actually, that's some pretty good sales. See, but this is what I'm talking about. So like a Dragon's on sale, like a Dragon, a man who races in now. With all that being said, you guys know Sega is killing it right now, right? So they're trying to make some money as well. So some of these games used to be cheaper. I can tell you that for a fact because I own them. Right? And I've sit here and like when it goes on. So for me, when it goes on sale, now goes on sale. A lot of the Sega stuff since I own most of it. And I don't want to get into the story about the Yakuza series. You guys know everything about that, but like a Dragon Nation is 60% off, 27.99, worth the price of admission. That game is long. Persona 5 Tactics, I haven't bought that. I'll definitely buy it now. It's 23.99. Right, so that's what I'm talking about. Guys. There's deals to be had, right? So when you're looking at games leaving, dude, the first thing you should do is go check out the Microsoft Store. Right, that's the very first thing you should do because 10 to 1, and you should be keeping up with the Microsoft Store every week. Your browser has blocked your screen. Click screen lock. Guys, can you guys see my Oh, okay, I hope you guys can see my screen. I got a error message. That's probably because I was trying to share something else. I'm gonna have to now. I gotta go open my YouTube, make sure it's still streaming. Dude, now I know why these big channels need producers, man. Because you can't be doing this and keeping track of everything at the same time. I'm just being honest. Oh yeah, I see. I'm still on. I'm still on. This Game Rant. Usually I don't go to Game Rant, but they list the amount of games. Oh, okay, so here's the games that are leaving, right? Hold on. Give you guys a better picture. So that's the games they're showing that are leaving this month. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. Man, didn't even play that. Maybe I got fired up today. Little Gator game. MLB The Show 24. Yeah, so I noticed the MLB is staying for about a year. Again, the point of putting it in, again, thinking of it as a demo disc so that you can play it. And then, of course, this is a yearly brand as well. I wonder if that's on sale. Monster Hunter Rise. Man, I didn't even touch that game. Open Roads. I actually, I think I bought that one because I was compelled to buy it because of the story looked interesting. Yeah, that's the one that's gonna get me Lamplighters League. But again, like I said, so I tried it out, right? I knew that I would like the game. That it was like, so I knew I was gonna buy it. So it kind of fell off to the back, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy the game. Now I shouldn't have let it go as far as I have, but again, man, we're dealing with games coming out just about every week, right? So Lamplighters League, I'm definitely just gonna buy it, and I'll just buy it because I don't care how much it costs. And because it's in Game Pass, right? It's better to buy it with the deal. But then again, keep in mind that later on it could be cheaper, right? Because it's a full price game. By full price, I mean I think it's like in the $49-$50 range, right? Also, it's Yakuza Zero. I think I have that physical. Kiwami and Kiwami Two. I'm pretty confident I have that physical. Um, and Like a Dragon, I definitely have. I have that. I have Like a Dragon and Like a Dragon edition. I have those. The ones I haven't picked up is the Pirates one and the two ones that are in Hawaii. I didn't pick those up yet. Oh wait, did I? I picked up the first one, right? I gotta check my inventory. See, that's what I'm talking about, dude. I'm old. Dude, if I was younger, I would have been able to rattle stuff off to you nonstop. But you can tell I do this podcast, dude. I can't remember stuff like I used to. But I'm definitely picking up for me Lamplighters League. Probably pick it up digital, right? And then of course you get the kickback from Microsoft because you're buying it in their store. And then you can take that money and turn around and buy it. Like I use it for sometimes I use it for Game Pass for my daughter. Um, but I gotta check out the Yakuza Zero. I'm pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure I have Kiwami though. I don't know if I have Zero. I gotta go look. I gotta go dig through my games because I'm pretty sure I have most of the stuff physical. If I don't have it digital, I gotta make sure. I wouldn't mind digital either, but I would prefer my Sega games. Um, the Sega games because they come with discs too. But I'm a Sega forever again, guys. That's my gamer tag. But I'm a Sega fan, so I would like to have um, physical copies of all my Sega games, and the fact that they put it on disc, so that helps. That's one thing I'm upset about with Xbox is I'm like, bro, I don't care if it's two discs, right? Just put it on disc. I can't buy a physical copy just for the box, or at least give me a special edition, right? Do something, guys. I can't do that's not I can't. So I just end up buying a digital, which is what they're pushing us to do anyway, right? Not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying, guys, that's just the way of the world right now when it comes to Xbox. But yeah, so that's the narrative, right? Which is amazing because the narrative that with the console sales, which was the other one, right? That I think Sony is like 5-10 times ahead of PlayStation 5 is outselling Xbox, Xbox Series X and S. Right? That's the narrative that was out there. In fact, let me look at that. Xbox failing sales. From our friends at IGN, PS5 sales are outpacing PS4 in the US. Xbox Series X and S lags well behind Xbox One. Oh, okay, that's different. Oh, interesting. I'm not seeing it now. Xbox sales hit new low. PlayStation 5 sales best quarter ever. I can't. Not in this economy, guys. That's the way more expensive console. They have no games. And this is what I mean about leaving PlayStation behind, and why I just wish Microsoft would stop. And I'm saying Microsoft on purpose would just stop messing around and just destroy Sony and get them out of the way, right? Because the way that they drive the market, right? Say like people are buying that amount of consoles, what games are they buying, right? They're probably just buying it to do the third party stuff, right? Where you have Microsoft out there investing in all of it, and to me that's what makes them the console leader. Because number one, I don't believe the console sell numbers that Sony puts out, right? Because they lie, right? Because that's the way they do business. Number two, and most importantly, dude, they're holding us back in gaming, right? They're literally preventing us from moving forward, right? The business model should be what Microsoft is doing with Xbox, not what Sony's doing with PlayStation. Because you have these people, they might be buying the console, but they're not buying the games. This is why you see, again, the sales numbers of the consoles don't match up really well with the sales numbers of the game. Because at the end of the day, that's what keeps the industry. That's how you make your money, like we say all the time. But it's also what keeps the industry healthy. You need a thriving industry, not just a status quo industry, right? Like to me, like Sony is just Sony. Everything that's wrong with Sony is everything that's going on with Japan right now. And I'm not saying it's wrong with Japan. Japan does what Japan does. I'm an American. I'm not Japanese citizen. I'm an American citizen. But when I'm looking at it, and if it affects me with my gaming, dude, I'm like, no, dude, you keep that over there, and you step down. You've already literally stepped down, right? But you follow the lead, which they do. But I'm saying, right, you should not be the conversation, and that's why the gaming media is so bad. The gaming media is like our mainstream media, man. They tell you half truths and lies, and then ultra focus on certain things because they can't check their biases. A lot of these dudes are ponies in disguise. which not really in disguise because they wear their heart on their sleeve, right? So you can tell where their alliances lie. Like a lot of times with the videos I watch, man, when people critique Xbox and stuff like that, and they do gameplay, you can tell that they're playing on a PlayStation, and that needs to stop, dude. And that's the only thing that I wish Microsoft would realize and just crush Sony at the end of the day. Look, I'm getting on my console war tirade. This is that part of the show, but I'm just being honest with you guys, right? This stuff is just tiring. At the end of the day, you're getting tired of seeing these headlines, right? Again, this is why I'm more ultra focused on gaming, because when you game, right, at the end of the day, you know the truth. Xbox right now is just absolutely untouchable. Again, thank God that Microsoft has a lot of money, right? Because no other company would be able to weather this type of hatred and misinformation that Xbox has to do. And Xbox does some things, guys, that I don't agree with, right? But at the end of the day, when it comes to games, they right now are untouchable, right? Whether I like the content in some of the games that they're creating, that's not the point, right? I can step away from that. I don't have to be involved in it. But they still make games that I love, and they still respect the industry that I grew up in. I saw another article where they talked about Xbox and the emulation factor, right, with the new Xbox console. Now, whether this is true or not, I don't know. They went into a lot of. It started off really good, then it went into a lot of techno mumbo jumbo. If Google or Dave was here, they could probably explain it better than I can. Or definitely could explain it better than I can. Or if Eba was here, he could break it down across the board. But it was one thing that I read and moved on. But I think that'd be great, right? Because that's something, especially if we're going into a digital age. Sorry, guys, sorry about the noise. We're going into the digital age. I think it matters that we do actually address the way gaming is moving forward into the future, and the person who will be will be taking us, which company, which console will be taking us in that direction. Okay, it matters, guys. It matters. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna mute for a little bit while this dude pass by. Yeah, I know that can be disrupting, guys, but trust me, man, the food that these guys make is really good, and they have a storefront too, which I think is smart. They're covering both sides, and they just don't come to our neighborhood. They go along this whole valley area, right? So I know they be making their money. Dude, what is that coming up the road? Dude, this place is just noisy. I can't help it. But yeah, dude, like who's gonna lead us forward, man? It can't be Sony. In fact, Sony should be dead already. Let's be honest with you. Every aspect of their business is dominated by some other company, right? And the only thing they got to hang on to is their brand name. Like you can tell me they sold a bazillion consoles, dude, but I mean, are they making money on it? Are they? Is it feasible? Are they pushing the industry in the right direction? And every question to that is no, across the board. So why do people still treat them like the industry leader? They're not. Dude, yeah, I'll even put Nintendo above Sony. It'll go Xbox, Nintendo, Sony, right? That's the reality of it, guys. That's how it is. Right? And these people will fail and will refuse to recognize it. This is why a lot of these places are closing down, and I think that's great, honestly. Look, I'm not an anti-free speech person. I'm an anti-bad business person, right? And a lot of these dudes have been carrying this water and drinking from the Kool-Aid when it comes to Sony, and it's hurting this industry, and they need to be moved. They need to move on, right? We need to move forward, right? And again, that's why I say it's a good thing that Microsoft is rich and is supporting Xbox, right? Because some of the stuff that they're doing, man, other companies just cannot do, and then we'll be stuck in the status quo forever. The only thing, again, that I complain when it comes to Microsoft is that they just need to put Sony out of their misery. Let the PlayStation be sold to Tencent, right? Let that happen. Again, man, that's just not. Look, I know I'm console warring on that level, but like, make it make sense. Like, and if you guys disagree, let me know why. Because I don't see anything that Sony is doing to push this industry forward. Like, say if there was no Xbox, video gaming had a good chance of dying. I know they have the PC side, but I'm talking specifically about consoles, right? And for me, one of the reasons I'm not on the PC side is because I don't consume my media. I don't consume my gaming in the way that PC gamers do. Right? In fact, that's why I don't really have a problem with PC guys because I set them apart from me. Like, and that's the way I grew up too. PC guys just stayed in their lane, we stayed in ours. Kind of like Nintendo, even though they're in a console market, but their console, quote unquote, is technically a handheld. So that's why I don't even look at them in the same way. The only two I look at is us and Sony, right? And console drives the trends. And I know people like to put up the numbers. Like I want to talk about that Steam, right? I think Steam is awesome, cool. People love it. I have no problem with Steam, right? But consoles always have driven the market. Right now, will consoles go the way of like how Japan used to drive the industry, drive the market? Right? Is consoles want to go the way of Japan? Like Japan doesn't have that pull anymore. You hear a lot of people clamoring for the content, but when the rubber meets the road and the numbers are shown, right, they're successful or somewhat successful. But for all, I'm talking about we're in that echo chamber, right? Because the level of people that talk to me about anime and Japanese stuff, I see it in anime. I see people buying the content. I see it actually having an impact on the younger culture, and I can say that predominantly because of my kids, right? Even my son who just dabbles in it, he knows what it is. That's the cultural influence I'm talking about, man. That's not Sony. Sony was that in the '90s. They're not that anymore. Right? The future is Xbox and Microsoft. Right? So and granted, hey, look, I understand some of it's scary, right? I ain't gonna say it's not, but that's the reality of it. It's not Sony, right? And we need to get over that, and we need to move past that, right? Because again, the culture of gaming comes from the consoles, right? It's always been that way because it's that plug and play, automatic, boom, you're in there. I'm not saying the industry is not changing, right? But if we're gonna move forward, dude, it has to be with Xbox and nobody else. Nintendo can release their Pokemons and stuff like that. It looks like they're gonna hyper focus on some stuff. Um, like I left Nintendo, my probably stopped playing Nintendo or start supporting Nintendo, even though I had a Wii, but I fell in that group of people when it came to the Wii, right? That was doing it because of the type of games that they had, and it was a family thing because I had kids, right? But the last time I actually liked a Nintendo console was the GameCube, right? And I had a Game Boy. And the one thing I loved about the Game Boy and the GameCube was that the base you had any connection because some of the games that they had, especially the RPGs, I like playing better on a TV, so I could do that on the GameCube. Just plug in the cartridge for the Game Boy cartridge into the GameCube. And even though they didn't have a lot of games, the games that they had, I absolutely loved. So when I wax poetic about Nintendo, that's the last time I ever felt anything from Nintendo. Not a Pokemon guy, but like I said, Pokemon, Nintendo's a brand, just like Sony has a brand and Xbox is a brand. Um, but more aligned, Nintendo is more aligned the lines of Sony in the sense of they have built-in customers like Disney, right? Like Pokemon's a big thing for them, man. That's a generational thing. That's why it's good that Microsoft got Minecraft because that can be a generational product as well. As the older generation moves on, a new set of younger generation comes in and fills the gaps. Right? Which is smart of Microsoft to buy um, uh, Minecraft. I don't know how good the movie's gonna do, guys. The buzz I'm hearing is not too good. Um, hopefully that there's something that we're not seeing. I want it to do well because it's going to be a franchise for Microsoft and Xbox, right? And that's that again that synergy that can come over to the gaming side, right? I want to put all my look. I'm not one of those guys that put all my eggs in one basket, right? Again, that's why I use the keyword is synergy, right? Just because like I love X-Men and I grew up reading X-Men comic books. A lot of people are shocked that I don't like the '90s series, the X-Men '97 or not '97, but the X-Men cartoon they had in the '90s. I never really cared for that because at the time I didn't like the translation from the comic book that was going on. Man, the comic book in the '90s, '80s and '90s for X-Men was bang, dude. And when they put it in animation form, it was like really kiddie, and I didn't. They was just doing so much stuff in the comic books that went beyond. I kind of see that with solo leveling right now, right? A lot of people who read the manga or read the actual the books as opposed to participating in the actual anime, right? Because they take liberties, just like Marvel does with their Marvel Cinematic Universe as opposed to their comic book universe. That's one of the reasons I'm kind of hard on the Cinematic Universe. Now I just keep my trap shut because I'm just like I just want them to get back to good at this point. Dude, this guy is like slowly coming up. So hold on. Okay, so just to give you an idea, right? So this dude is coming down the road, and he's moving a little bit slow. That means that people up the road didn't buy anything. So he's just like, "Hey, you guys are here. Just letting you know." The side streets will catch him. That's the guys who buy the most of the side streets. Where I'm at right now, man, a lot of my neighbors look like they're out. Probably got stuff to do. But oh my gosh, dude, crazy. But yeah, that's the last time I cared about Nintendo. Pikmin, Animal Crossing, I was definitely hooked to that. F-Zero, yeah, a couple of the other games, man. I had like about, yeah, I'd say about 15 GameCube games that I had in constant rotation at that time. I'm so old, man. If I saw it on, if I saw a list, I could talk about it a little bit more. I can't pull it from memory. But yeah, so at the end of the day, man, it's Xbox. Right? Xbox should be pushing stuff forward at the end of the day. And I know some people feel a certain way when I say that kind of stuff, but I'm just being honest. Right? To me, consoles still that's where everything is. It's where the culture comes from. It's the testing ground. I like what I'm hearing from Microsoft proper. The company is how they're moving forward. They're taking everything into consideration, but they're not going to get rid of. They're not going to get rid of the console, dude. Not with the amount of money they make on console, right? And I think once the economy gets better, then we can make a more accurate um, prognosis of what the industry is like. You can't do it right now because there's so many factors that influences gaming right now that's outside of gaming in and of itself. Right? Some of the stuff that I talk about, I'm just talking about it. That's the stuff that I know and the stuff that I've researched. But there's all kind of factors, man. Again, like I said, that's why I bring up the economy so much on my channel. One thing that you guys gotta know is that the FTC, if you guys keep up with politics, man, Trump administration's been running roughshod on the federal government, which I think is a good thing personally. If you guys watch my politics, you guys know that I feel that way. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, FTC fired some commissioners. FTC commissioners got let go. Because the White House is going to war with the FTC. Again, I'm all for that because there's more stuff that dropped. I'm not going to talk into details because there's more information that dropped. I'm just noticing right now. Yeah, and the reason why, again, like I tell you guys on my political side of the channel, I'll tie this into gaming, guys. Trust me. It's because he's trying to get rid of all the democratically appointed people in these positions, which he should have the right to. And I would say that if in the next presidential election, if a Democrat wins, they'll come in and then they'll do the same thing, right? And they're going to do it hardcore because of what President Trump is doing right now. But yeah, so they're cutting these people out. I think it's good, right? Again, everything that the Microsoft went to was unnecessary. It's a waste of taxpayer money. Number one, that's why all these guys are getting purged now, right? Because when they're looking at these guys, like, why are you doing it? It's the same mentality that we had when we were looking at it. It's like, okay, why are we doing this, dude? This will be great for gamers, right? A lot of people are saying, yeah, good, I don't want to buy COD anymore. I might actually play COD because I don't have to buy it, right? Because they wait for it to go on sale. And then COD, look, even when it goes on sale, dude, it's not on sale. So you're never going to pick up COD for $9.99. Even the games now are like $20. I think Microsoft, when they first got it, they did a $9.99 with some of them. I own it, most every COD, and the only COD I don't own, I don't. So there's one COD I don't own because I hated it, and the other COD I just kind of lost touch with the series. But every other game I own now, even the newer ones that came out, and with the exception of the one that came out in Game Pass because it's in Game Pass, I don't own that one. But I did put the $30 down for it. Again, I'm a consumer as well as a gamer, dude. I like having the options, right? And I also support them by the content, and they know this, right? Right, so they're offering the best of both worlds, guys. Because number one, they're giving you options when it comes to COD. Like if you're on a console that's outside of Game Pass, hey, just buy it here, just buy this, or just get Game Pass and play it there, right? And then the money you save on buying the game, right? And it is like a layaway program, guys, but you're gonna pay more at the end of the day, right? If you keep your Game Pass, right? The value of Game Pass is what keeps people plugged in because it's not just about COD. And that's why a lot of people say, why isn't this COD in, or why aren't these games in, stuff like that. Again, remember, when Xbox does this stuff, they got to think about the partnerships and the deals they have with all these other people. They push. I did Xbox. You guys know that they push the indie games, right? They push all that stuff, guys. So you guys got to keep that in mind. They're just not doing it just to do it. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you got to realize, right? But getting back to the FTC, I hope they fire all those people, right? Because we need to move forward. You guys know that Trump is President Trump. Whether you agree with him or not, dude, he's America first, right? And he wants businesses here to thrive first and foremost. And for me, like I told you guys on my political podcast, and I'll mention it here just really quickly because it ties into where I see what Microsoft's going to do later, is we need to, the pendulum swing has come back. When it comes to manufacturing and all this kind of stuff, do we need to put our businesses up? And I want to see Microsoft succeed in that level, right? Microsoft is, look, dude, and it's not like this xenophobic thing that they're trying to make it out to be. Man, Microsoft has international connections. In fact, they probably are against President Trump on a lot of this stuff because they do have connections in overseas. The H-1B one thing was H-1B is big for them, right? Because they get a lot of talent from overseas, right? But they're gonna have to thread that wire. But one of the things I would love to see them doing is actually putting they don't have to. I don't think they'll have to worry about the FTC as much, right? Because it's a pro business environment now with the government, and this shows by these people getting fired, right? Because all these people were there for was to limit big business, because that's their credo, man. That's their religion, dude. It's nonsensical at the end of the day. Again, referencing the AKB deal, there's no reason for the government to block that. I can understand them doing it overseas. I was surprised EU supported it. That shocked me, if I'm being honest. I thought EU was the biggest hurdle. I didn't even think Great Britain was going to be that bad, right? But then, as we knew, we found out that the FTC here in the U.S. and then the Commission in England was working, or Great Britain was working together. That's what I'm talking about. That's the BS that we've been dealing with, and I want all of that gone. And I'm glad it's gone. Looks like we're on the way to fixing all that kind of stuff, man, making more pro business. So Microsoft can go and buy the companies they need to buy. Right? And not to, and again, dude, I say this all the time. Yes, I want them to dominate, but it's also because it's hard to manage your company in the way that you want to manage it when you have all these regulations in charge, right? Like for example, Ubisoft, and we'll course correct from Ubisoft, guys. We'll course correct to Ubisoft because I do want to talk about it. We talked about it last week, but I didn't get a chance to really focus on it. Hey, what's up, brother? If you want to jump in, let me know. I just did this off the cuff, just to let you know, brother. Hiba, my kids are just come back from Japan, so I might have to hit the out button. That's why I'm kind of doing it in this format. But let me send you the. I saw your video, bro. Great video. In fact, I'm talking about AKB right now. Kind of. I'm gonna course correct the other one. But hold on, dude. Let me send you the link. Yeah, I think I was supposed to do it, bro. I think I was supposed to do the Wrecking Crew. I can't remember. I did one last week. But again, I couldn't really do it if I wanted to because if my kids come home, then I'm out. I gotta bounce. Hold on. Let me get this dude. Invite. I'm gonna send it to you on Instagram, dude. I sent it. So when I see you pop in, dude, I'll stay on the screen because I've been on the other screen. You should see it. Let me see if I can get back to. I don't know if I'm sharing stuff, guys, and it's being blocked. I'm not. No, but I just wanted to. Yeah. I just wanted to let you know because if they come, because I think they landed already, dude. I can't keep up with the hour difference, man. Japan's a day ahead of us. So I'm not sure if they're gonna come. I think they landed already. Yeah, my daughter says they landed. So they might go to the mom's house and take care of stuff there, or maybe they got something to do before. But then they come here. Then I'll go, man, because I haven't seen my kids in like over a week, so I want to see them. But yeah, jump in, dude. Instagram, I send it to you. Sorry, guys, I'm just making sure. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. What was I saying? I was talking about what? Ubisoft? Oh, yeah, I wanted to kind of switch over to Ubisoft really quickly. Let me go look. Let's see if they got any more news. They're talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. But anyway, about a week ago, right? The big story was Ubisoft is in financial trouble, right? Everything's riding on Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is not a good thing. And I'll be saying that if it was Xbox as well. That's why I like what Xbox does. They have a portfolio of games and they cover all their bases. The fact that Ubisoft has to rely on one game, I don't think that's a good thing. But I mean, look, dude, a lot of the games that Ubisoft has been making, um, have been taking hits left and right. Whether that's fair or not, dude, look, dude, if you're an Ubisoft person and you come into the chat and want to defend Ubisoft, that's great, right? I think there's games that Ubisoft makes that I absolutely love, right? But again, the buzz was when it comes to Ubisoft that they're going to actually that they're in financial disarray. There's a lot of stuff going on between the owners and not just the gamers, but also the employees, right? I was reading articles on that as well. And again, gaming media take everything with a game of salt, dude. But Ubisoft is a powerhouse company. In one breath, you hear people say that they're done, they're old, there has been, there's stuff like that. But then when the talks of buying Ubisoft and talks of their franchises, you see the conversation kind of shift, right? So they still have pull. Like for Assassin's Creed Shadows, you guys got to remember, like if you're a person that doesn't like the woke stuff or the stuff that they're doing, the liberties that they're taking with the history of it and stuff like that, you still got to remember that Assassin's Creed in and of itself is a huge franchise, right? And again, it's the same thing. Like I look at with my kids, especially my daughter, when she plays the Bethesda game, she loves Fallout, but she complains a lot about it or Overwatch. And there's a lot of fans in the community that complains, but the thing is, they're still fans and they still play. Again, I'll reference the Steelers, right? We kind of fell apart at the end. That's what I was telling some of my friends, man. Right? But they're thirsty. They're a bit thirsty, right? It's about that time you want your franchise to be coming back, dude. I'm just happy that in my lifetime I was actually able to see the Steelers win a Super Bowl. Right, the '70s stuff. I was born in the '70s, but I was a little baby, little kid. I was a fan since I was a little kid, but I missed all that, dude. I never got that experience, and I finally got it. And the way that it all worked out, man, the disappointment in '95 when we lost to the Cowboys in the first Super Bowl that Steelers ever lost, right? That was a bad experience for me. But then later on, dude, they won it, and the way that they won their first Super Bowl in my lifetime that I got to see, right? The way they ran that gamut, the way they went to the playoffs, dude. They were at the bottom. They worked their way all the way up. Went against teams that supposedly on paper were way stronger than my Steelers, right? But then this is why people watch sports, man. It just clicked. Everything clicked at the right time for Pittsburgh, and they ran that gamut. And on the bend, Polamalu, dude, Hines Ward, dude, defensive line was good. Offensive line was in everything was clicking right, and then we made the Super Bowl and we won, and that was a beautiful time. Um, Loved every minute of it, right? But right now, Steeler fans are thirsty, especially the younger generation, right? That was in the boat I was in when you had the '70s Steelers, right? They won a Super Bowl, so I think they were feeling themselves with the team too much. Great team, talented team, very young team, but you know, there's a lot of stuff that they were going through, man, with the quarterback situation, all that stuff. So my point being is that at the end of the day, right, I am still a fan, right? Right. I can sit here and complain about our offensive line. I can talk to you guys about how we need to shift our linebackers, right? Secondary needs to get better, right? Our offense needs to show up, stuff like that. Right? That's every fan does that, and that's the problem I have with fandom now is people don't think in those terms, man. They just go all in with their stuff, and I'm like, no, dude, it's amazing to me to watch people do that and not understand what they're talking about. Right? Again, the example I'll use when people tell me that the graphics are bad, and I'm looking at the graphics, I'm like, graphics are gorgeous. He goes, well, but look at the character. Character looks this. I'm like, well, they start critiquing the character. I'm like, that's the art design. That's not the graphics. Case in point, what I talked about Avowed. Avowed is a great looking game. I just don't like some of the character designs that they went with. Looks weird to me. Right? Kind of takes me out of the game a little bit. Like I can't make a connection. And I'm saying this now more authority, right? With more I've actually I've gone through the paces, and the thing I was holding up for is like maybe it's like that because of what the story is, and the story doesn't back that up at all. And I know there's a lot of stuff, but I've gone through that a lot of. That's why, guys, I haven't finished the game yet because I've been going through the paces with the story, and it just doesn't make sense. So you got to fill in the gaps, and when I try and fill in the gaps, it doesn't make sense to me. Right? Just being honest. So. But yeah, when you look at Ubisoft, let me type it in this way. Well, let me go to Ubisoft's website. Hold on. I know, guys. I know. I don't have a producer. You know what I would do, dude? If I was rich, dude, I would do that. Even though my stuff would be crappy, I wouldn't care. I'd just do it. Yeah, let's get to the actual website, guys. I'm bouncing back and forth, man. so I don't lose track of you. Look at that. See, this is Assassin's Creed is on the main page. But let me get to the. Can I go see the games? Can I share this? I don't know if I can share this. We'll see. Can you guys see that? Looks like you can. I'm gonna blow this up. Hey, Hebot, I'm off screen right now, but I'll be like I said, I'll be jumping in and out to see if you're there. All right, here we go. So Assassin's Creed Shadows has released Rainbow Siege. So the reason we're looking at this, guys, is because the rumor is that their IPs are up for sale. That's the rumor. Um, I personally think that they're trying to do stuff behind the scenes to ensure that the company stays together. And if that's, I definitely see Tencent being there's people that are fans of Ubisoft games that are on the Microsoft Xbox side that want Xbox and Microsoft to step in. I've heard rumors that Xbox is looking at IPs if Ubisoft's willing to sell the IPs. One of the things that amazes me is that we have their streaming service is on Xbox right now, so you can subscribe to that if you want to play their games. So that gives me hope that Microsoft is a contender for buying this stuff. Again, I shared with you guys the whole thing when it came to the FTC. That gives me hope. Because at the end of the day, whether I like Assassin's Creed or not, dude, you cannot look at this library of games and not be impressed. Right? Star Wars Outlaws, that's a bit tricky one, right? Because it's under license. I haven't played Star Wars Outlaws. It is a multi console game. Everybody talks high about Frontiers of Pandora. I just don't like Avatar, the franchise. You know what it is, and it's kind of me, man. I let myself get caught up in the hype when I went to go watch it, and it definitely was not. It didn't live up to the expectation for me, and that messed it up. But if there's one game, guys, that I would love them to get, it's right here, The Division Resurgence, or the Division. Tom Clancy's The Division. Right, I love this game, dude. When the Division 2 hit, man, I played that so much. I actually love that game, the type of game that it is. And of course, under the tutelage of the Xbox team, right? I could see this being a runaway success on Xbox, kind of like how COD is, right? Because it has a built-in fan base, right? Microsoft will stick it every place, right? Because Microsoft loves everybody. Let's all get along, all that kind of stuff, right? Microsoft being Microsoft, right? Oh, we all love everybody. Let's all get along. Gaming is for everyone. Yada yada yada. Whatever. Okay. And then Riders Republic, dude, is an actually cool game. It's a really cool game. I would like to see. Hebot, are you here? Okay, just checking. I would love to see uh, Microsoft actually focus on their gaming lineup when it comes to sports games. And I'm not saying they're not. One of the reasons I wanted them to pick up EA, even though I won't play Madden, right? It's just having it there and then making sure that you grow your user base. I think that would be great. Settlers looks pretty cool, guys. I wouldn't mind playing that in Game Pass. In fact, is it in Game Pass? I don't think it is. Brawlhalla is a fun game. My son actually likes this. Oh wow, they have rabbits. This is interesting, right? Say like Xbox buys Ubisoft. I wonder if some of these deals will still hold true. Like I was talking about with Outlaws. Really. Rainbow Six Siege. I'm not sleeping on that, guys. I know that's a popular game. I like it. I'm just not good at it because it's more tactical. I end up pissing off people on my team more than anything else. Just Dance, dude. This is one of the things I can't stand about Xbox. Oh, okay. One thing I don't like about Xbox now, cannot stand, is it bad? It's a little bit too heavy. But it's just that Xbox back in the day, man, they were in the race of peripherals. You know what I'm saying? And I wish they bring that back because they have a lot of great games that they could pull from. I actually like the Kinect. Yeah, I know the Kinect had its issues, man, but the Kinect for the Xbox One was really awesome. Some of those early games that took advantage of it was pretty cool in concept and as well as design. And then I was looking forward to using it more in my gaming because I did like that. But for a game like Just Dance, it's just so much fun. Had so many people. Like I remember, my daughter was in Girl Scouts, and then one of the families came over because we were kind of plotting it, and then both the kids were all the same age, right? Their kids and our kids were playing together, and then we put that on, and then everybody started playing this game. It was funny. Even the moms were playing. It was hilarious. That's the type of thing I talk about when I talk about the synergy, right? Is that you can get people that don't normally play games into it. That's what made, that's what happened with Wii. Though you gotta. Oh, hey, brother. Sorry, I see you. I'm jumping back and forth, man, because I don't have dual screens. You're in, bro. I got you.
Hey, brother, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I got you loud and clear. Hey, good video, man. I watched it the other day on AKB.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I mean, I still get all these fools saying that I don't know. Just a hater of a person that clearly always trying to stir the pot.
Right, right, right.
That doesn't make no sense. Like, listen, man. If you're paying attention, you know this person is just trying to be slick and playing a double agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey, brother, I cannot believe you did almost an 8-hour podcast last week, and I didn't even notice to be able to come in at any point. Can you realize that? Can you believe that?
Well, the problem, well, not the problem. I shouldn't say it that way, but what ended up happening is we diverged to like politics, right? So when I'm talking
Okay.
to Gogo about politics, that's where it just went because we were supposed to end the podcast, and then I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying. And then when I looked
Right.
at the time, I was like, yeah, that was pretty crazy. I gotta. I mean, not that I didn't think it was. I didn't. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I gotta really kind of crack down on my on the time.
It's just for me, it was like, how the fuck was he on almost 8 hours? And
Yeah, it was.
not once did I even realize. Well, the thing is, I've been really, really messed up, really sick. So that's
Yeah,
been affecting me a lot. I'm feeling really fucking under the weather, trying to figure it out, right? So that quality is one of the reasons. Plus, I'm back and forth doing stuff for the family, obviously. But usually, I'll notice. I'm like, all right, let me jump in, and then it gave me more than enough time to talk or give my 2 cents or whatever the case may be. And I was like, I did not believe that I did not see, not even for 5 minutes. He was on for 8 hours almost. Jesus Christ!
yeah, dude.
So I was like, what the fuck? So I was disappointed in myself.
No, don't be,
You know,
dude. I know
upset
you.
with
No, look,
again.
dude,
Like,
we're in
what
the
the
same boat. I
fuck?
mean, physically too. Like I hurt my back too, so I was out. Like I was OOC, man. I couldn't move.
Mm,
Monday, Monday, dude, I could not move, man. Every little move hurt. And so
mm.
I was out for 2 days. I was hurting on Wednesday, but I had to go to work, dude. I had stuff I had to do. And so, yeah, I was in pain. Even to this, like, not until Friday did my back feel better. And right now,
Well,
I think,
I know that you said that you usually do the long ones when you're doing the treatment. I know that. I know you told me that.
well, that one wasn't planned, bro. And that hasn't been the longest one, bro. The longest one I did was 10 hours. And that was because I had Dea and I can't think of the brother's name right now. Dang it. But we started talking about all kind of stuff, right? And when you start going down that road, of course, right? And I don't mind it. It was a good listen to, like Dea and Realist, because they started talking about like anime and movies and stuff. So,
Mhm.
but that was 10 hours, brother. That's the longest one I really done. I'm not saying, look, dude. If I do a 5 hour podcast, I don't think. Look, I'll be honest with everybody out there. I don't think I could get away from that. That's just the way the channel is. But I mean, I'm gonna try
I
to get
mean,
that.
as long as it's good conversation,
Yeah,
uh, and good topics, it's always going to be a good listen. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of breaking it down how you're going to hear it or listen to it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, because at the end of the day, dude, people want to talk about stuff, right? So I did a politics podcast, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I
like
see.
yeah, Jay jumped in, and Mr. Kimo was here, I believe. There's people in the chat, so there were their comments, and I was answering and stuff like that. And that one ran. I think I stopped it though, because I was like, yeah, because I'm gonna try and do that. But I mean, and then the comments kind of died down. I was like, okay, well, I can end it now, right? Everybody got their piece, got their say. And again, I was trying to tell people like, look, dude, I'm doing commentary on this because I'm looking at it not just from a political perspective, because I have my own
Mm-hmm.
politics, but from everything that's going on, and I find it fascinating, and I want to comment. Kind of like
Mm-hmm.
how I want to shift the channel to. Like now we're gonna, like if you want to talk about it, like I'm gonna talk about Ubisoft, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I think it's
About the youth.
fascinating. Yeah, because there's all
I
kind of stuff
mean,
going on behind the scenes with Ubisoft, but at the same time, Microsoft has their little part that they can play. And so the Trump administration, they've been firing all these people in the bureaucracy in DC.
Mhm.
And so two guys got fired from the FTC, man. And these guys was along with Lena Khan. She stepped down. Right? Either she stepped down or got fired. I don't know which one it is. But so it's a changing of the guard at the FTC. So that opens up the door for,
A lot of things. Yeah.
yeah, and which I'm all for, man, because I'm tired of Microsoft, tiptoeing
Getting
around.
all the slack all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize, right? And I've said this for a long time, that Microsoft is looked under a different parameter and scope because they're a Fortune 500, multi-trillion-dollar company,
Yeah.
right? The number one in the world at this point, because I don't even think Apple has surpassed them again or anybody else, right?
Yeah.
So, because it's always going back and forth like a seesaw. One year is Apple, 1 year is Microsoft. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So that's how it's been for the last couple of years. It's been a seesaw ride. So at this point, I believe they're still number one, right? If I'm wrong, please correct me. But the point is, when you have that much money, that much power, right? And especially that you're under the American bureaucracy, like you say, and government, right?
Right.
You're going to be treated differently, right? Any other company, whether it's Arab, Indian, or Hindu, whatever the proper term is, right? Asian, whatever the case may be, right? Japanese, Chinese, that does business in America, they're never going to be under that same umbrella because they're not an American, actual 100% American company. They're an affiliate here in America, yeah, but they're not. They're really, first and foremost, from wherever they come from, right? From wherever they, if it's China, if it's India, whatever the case may be. So that's why they don't get, the same type of treatment or the same type of, I guess, getting stepped on the back and being pressed on the way that Microsoft does. So that, and for that reason, I say that's why Microsoft a lot of times does the decision making that they've been doing, right? Which is one of the reasons why they've been trying to put games in other places is to basically keep that window open, showing, hey, we're not a monopoly. We're willing to share our games in certain circumstances, even though for us, as the hardcore fans that have been supporting them since day one, as the fans that actually built the brand when nobody else believed in them from the OG Xbox saying, oh, Microsoft, they don't know nothing about consoles. What are they doing? You remember those days, right? So we were the ones that say, hey, you know what? They're an extension of Sega. They got 14 Sega titles exclusive. I'm jumping on the ride. I'm going to see where it goes. Until this day, we never look back because they've actually been pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, they've been pretty awesome.
They have hit and misses, of course. Every company does. Nintendo has, PlayStation has. That's not the point. The point is, PlayStation has had missed, I think, since their very beginning and inception, but because of their name brand and global appeal, it was so strong since their existence, right, or since their inception. They've been able to take that name and manipulate every consumer, every region, every hit, everything that's been going on in the business of gaming, because they have never done anything for the gaming business. Nothing. There's not one thing anybody can tell me they've done. Nothing. If they've done anything, it was because someone else did it first, or they just replicated it, did their own version, or they copycat, or they tried to paint it as their own, right? And you know where I'm coming from. What I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we know this because we've been there since day one, right? That's why I get so mad when I see people, oh, the console war is stupid. I said, listen, there's a difference between console warring and a very big difference in calling out bullshit. In this case, Sony, you have to call them out, and they're bullshit because they have been nothing but anti-consumer and bad practices since their very existence. The only reason they exist was because they have power and money in the entertainment, in the entertainment business world, right? Meaning movies, electronics, right? Camcorders, TVs, whatever the case may be, right? And that's what made them a big entity, right? A big conglomerate. And they use that power and money to get into a space of video game to overmatch the pioneers, which was Sega and Nintendo, obviously, right? And even Atari, right? Let's not forget, because Atari was a pioneer, right?
Yeah.
And because these companies like Atari, Nintendo, and Sega didn't have that money, they couldn't fight back. So they basically said, "Fuck you. We're gonna buy everybody, and you're not gonna do bad if you don't like it, because we got the money, and they're gonna take it." Because remember, we've said this into nauseum. Okay, we've said this until nauseum. Video games were always looked at as a joke. They were looked at as like you were either antisocial, you have brain damage, you probably worship the devil. There was something wrong with your child. He probably was autistic. Whatever the case may be. That's how video games was always looked at. The same way the people that listened to back in the day to rock and roll, that read comics. That's how it was looked at. You know this, I know this, right? And the people from our era, they all know, right? But since it became such a lucrative business and profitable, now it's considered art. Now it's considered something respected. Now it's considered, something important within the entertainment realm because it makes more money than anything else, right? So back then, developers would take that money, and they took the money from Sony because they never seen that kind of money being offered. So it's not like I really blame the developers, because I know and I understand, they weren't making that kind of money. Nobody was able to pay them like that. Yeah, Sega would probably pay them, Nintendo, but nowhere near the price and the purse that Sony was paying, right? Because they had big pockets. That's it. That's the only reason why Sony has managed to have success, because they had deep pockets. Now it's a different story. Microsoft is the one with the deep pockets, but the biggest difference is Microsoft's American. They're not under a Japanese bracket. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to get fucking scrutinized by our government. They're going to get fucking, pinned down by our government, because all the government's worrying about is how much money are you going to pay us? So if they can find any angle that they can fuck them over so that they can get money off of them, they're going to do that. And that's what people don't understand. They think it's, oh no, Microsoft is just evil and they know it. No. Stop. That's not it at all. Sony gets away with the shit they do, and so does Nintendo, because they're not really an American company. Yes, they have Sony of Japan, Sony of America. They have Nintendo of Japan, Nintendo of America. But their real, identity and where they really stem from, and where they really the rules that they follow are really coming from, where they were in Japan. Maybe not so much Sony now, because I don't know if they even have any more buildings left over there in Japan. But inside and structurally in their interior business, they still run like they're a Japanese company, and they still get treated like a Japanese company by the American government. So they can do whatever they want to keep paying for all these exclusives, have time exclusive, money hiding shit. They could buy a bunch of studios, and they're never going to be looked at. Hey, you monopolizing shit. They did it with the anime scene. You saw that.
Oh, but the amazing thing about all that is, even if they can do that, they're not getting the dividends like they used to.
Yes, absolutely. Even though they do that, it's not profit. It's not giving them profits. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. It seems like all their avenues that they can weaponize. Console.
Well, they did it with the anime scene. They bought Funimation, right? Mm-hmm. They bought Crunchyroll, and what they ended up doing, instead of, there was two different entities that was doing two different things. They end up uniting them and putting them on the one window, and now they monopolize that scene because nobody else can control it. You can't really buy anime and do things unless they're getting profits out of it or money on it or something, right?
And that's what irritates me, man, because a lot of these guys, especially on the Sony side, dude, and look, I'm guilty of it too. That's my avatar as well. But they would purport to be anime guys, right? And then Sony's doing something that's actually affecting that industry right now. Not in a necessarily good way, you know what I'm saying? But they don't say anything because it's Sony. Yeah, that pisses me off.
So what? Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Brother, and that's why I get me mad, because not that I have nothing against the PC community or PC gamers. I don't care. They don't bother me. You know what I mean? I know what they're about. I know their history. And at the end of the day, I'll tell any PC gamer, like also Alex, like Rags, like Katanga, whoever it is, I don't care who you are, who made gaming big. It was console gamers. That is a fact. You're never going to change that. That's never going to be taken away. So regardless of whatever you say, it does not matter. The console space was the most important space, is what made gaming what it is today. It wasn't PC.
You know what I was thinking about when you said that the first time? Remember when we talked?
Yeah.
And then the podcast after. One thing that I realized after we talked is that
Mhm.
it's almost like a one for one, because a lot of people who play games played in the arcades.
Yes.
You played in an arcade, it was a very one to one experience. Sure, you had the social construct around it, right? And I think that's why the transition to console was a lot easier, because basically you're just taking the arcade and bringing it home. So it's more accessible for a lot of us. And we did both, right? Went to the arcade, but you had to, right? It was better in the arcade, in a sense, right? Because as far as the gameplay, the graphics, the sounds, and stuff like that, right? But to me, it's like that one for one, because we're able to. Oh, I got you, brother. I think you dropped out. I got you.
Sorry about that. I accidentally logged myself out. Now, tell me what you're going to say after I said what I said, that you came to talk with more one for one. Go ahead. Continue saying what you're saying.
Yeah, so that one for one is just easily transitional to console, right? And so when you're saying that, think about it, yes, yeah, that makes sense, right? Because it went from arcades to home console, right?
Yes.
And it still continues to this day. I know the size has switched, and I know one of the big reasons that we have a lot of turmoil is because the industry has grown.
Yes.
And any type of hardcore type of industry that goes, what do you call that, mainstream, right, suffers in some aspect. You lose kind of a portion of yourself. Gaming's been able to hang on for a while, but you can see it happening now. You know, and so to your point, yeah, that made me think about that. I was like, yeah, dude, that is true. Right? And not that I said I didn't think it was true, but it made I had that moment of clarity with that, because I was thinking about my own experiences, right? Like, you know, when they finally got when you finally got the Saturn was the first. And Nintendo came kind of close with that Street Fighter. With Super Street Fighter, they came pretty close, but it wasn't until Saturn hit, right, that you got that one for one. And then when Dreamcast hit, it just skyrocketed, and that changed the whole dynamic. You know? And we were alive for that time. We experienced it. That's another reason why I tell people, I was like, bro, I'm not Googling this stuff, brother, man. I remember that vividly because it was a game changer, right?
Yeah. And we were there. We were experiencing it as it went along. All the evolutions of gaming and in the industry, we have been part of it since day one. Because I started gaming on the Odyssey. The games I used to play in the arcade was the Pong machine in a laundromat when my mom used to do, her laundry.
Yeah, laundry.
So that's where I came. I came from the arcade to home, the first arcade machine to the first house arcade home machine, right? So I've been there, and we've been there through the entire evolution. That's what I told people. Are you going to tell us that we don't know what the fuck? We're too old. We need to change our guard. We're stuck in our old way. No, because we know the differences and why console warring was a necessary evil, was healthy, and was in good faith or in good fun. It wasn't with any malice. It's just that now with social media, having nobody to, be able to monetize or put people in place on check, because everybody controls their own space. You got a bunch of dummies, a bunch of incest people that are like cancer, that don't respect, that have because they think they're so tough over the internet, because right, you're not in front of somebody's face. So they open their mouth and they have no responsibility of what they say. So now everybody thinks, because this toxicity exists within the console war, that console wars are stupid, they're immature. No, there's a different several types of console wars and level, and the ones that we're talking about was the ones that made sense for the space. Just like when you have an argument about a boxer fighting another boxer, or a football team playing another team, it's like sports talk. That's it. There's nothing else to it. No, we're not talking about going and talking about somebody's family, somebody's kids, putting nude pics of people because you happen to find them somewhere, whatever the case may be. The internet is out of control because there's no control in in the right sense, right? They want to censor you for stupid shit, right? For your political views, your sexual preferences, whatever the case may be, right? For your religion. But they don't. Okay, I've always said this to my kid. I cannot believe how sensitive of a society we live in now, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it's the most toxic society ever known to man. You get what I'm trying to say?
Well,
How we live in an era where everybody's so sensitive, but yet it is the era with the most toxicity available at a fingertip. You see women getting trained on a YouTube video. You're gonna tell me because I use the word gay or faggot that makes you offended? You get what I'm trying to say, brother?
Yeah, because there's no checks and balances anymore. You can,
You know what I mean? But you exactly. But you can go on YouTube and watch an 85-year-old woman getting fucked and pounded by some young dude. Like, you know, like what the fuck? What, like, make it make sense. Don't give me that stupidity of, oh, you're so toxic. No, I'm not toxic. This era and this life that we live now is fucking toxic. At the worst and highest level, we had morals and scruples growing up, even though we would banter, say funny things that sounded crazy, maybe even stupid or ignorant and racist, but it was all in good fun. We didn't mean it. It was just for fun.
Well, there's an accountability back then too, right? Like you can't hide. You can't hide. Like a lot of people can throw aspersions all day because you can hide behind screens or weaponize movements and stuff like that. That's one of the great things I love about what's going on politically right now, right? Is that a lot of stuff is going out on the wayside, and it needs to, and especially in gaming, right? Because it's holding us back. I was just ranting about that when it comes to Sony specifically, how we're being held back, but just the communities in general. Like if you can't do things and tell the stories you want to tell, and then be strong enough, dude. Like if I created something, I'm trying to tell this to my daughter because she's getting into this field. I said, be strong enough to make something and realize that not everybody's going to like what you make.
Absolutely.
Right. You have to be, you can't be thin-skinned. You're in a creative art form, right? One man's trash is another man's treasure. This is what we used to argue about. Like I would argue about all the time, man. I love John Byrne. Art. A lot of people I knew like John Byrne, but there's people that didn't like his art, and then you'd have it out with these guys. But the reason why, and I wanted to talk about what you said earlier, because this is case in point. Welcome, Fonke. Welcome to the podcast, Fonke. Thanks for being here, brother.
Yes,
but
sir.
There was a civility right back then. It's kind of like when the nations of Europe back in the day used to war with each other. They war with each other so much that they came up with rules of engagement. You know, they had this understanding of when they were going to do war. Even here in Hawaii. Like in Hawaii, stuff was more tribal, right? So they would actually have seasons where they would actually fight. There's certain seasons you couldn't, right? Because you could die, right? Because you needed a season to plant. There's stuff that needed to happen, right? And so, at least in the Western civilization, I thought it was fascinating because they came up with these rules of engagement, and that's kind of how we were. Because at the end of the day, right, we had a commonality, which was we love playing games. We love the culture of gaming.
But we knew our, where not to cross the line. You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, we never thought about crossing the line because at the end of the day, we all enjoyed it. Like we were. Is there somebody knocking at my door? Hold on, bro. Oh, I thought somebody was knocking at my door. I was like, oh, okay.
It's just like when people go, we knew when to not cross the line. We knew how to respect where respect was needed. You know how all these people now. Yeah, you'll see them talk, a lot of new gamers, right? And I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to add to what you were saying.
Yeah, go ahead. In fact,
they'll see something new, right?
I'll be right back. I'm going to double check. But please, I can hear you. I'll mute my mic, I can hear you.
Sure.
Yeah.
What you see new gamers, right? They'll be like, play something new, and then they'll see something old. Like, oh my God, that shit is garbage. And they don't keep that reverence and respect that if you didn't get something like Pong, right? And I saw an amazing article the other day that said that if it wasn't for Tetris and Pac-Man, gaming, they're one of the most important key parts of video games and why they are so big today. And that's 100% facts because you gotta respect where shit came from, where it stemmed from. You can't just throw it to the side. Oh, that's the past, that's old school, that's garbage. And that's the problem with a lot of the youth and mindset now with the younger kids. They act like that the past is not important or is irrelevant because it's old or because it's dated or because it's corny or because it's not cool like the stuff now. And that's not how it's supposed to be. The only way you can appreciate anything is by understanding that it had a beginning and that without that beginning, you wouldn't be where it is today, you know?
Right.
And that's the importance with anything in life. And in this case, with video games, right? And I hate that they try to brush that shit off. Oh, your old school games, you know, they're garbage, or they're stupid nowadays, or no, who cares about that? Nobody cares about. You can't look at it that way. You can't think about it. It's the same thing with music, you know. And to be honest, with music, the music now doesn't even compare. There's never been an era better than the era from back in the day, in the 80s, the 70s, even the 60s. Music was way better back then. It had more meaning, it had more thought, had better lyrics, you know what I mean? Better layouts, you know, and just were more impactful in general in society and culture. You know, it's the same thing with, you know, movies. Well, movies, you know, you could say technology wise, yeah, absolutely. You can't compare it to back in the day, but there's still some movies back in the day that still stand the test of time that you don't even get today with movies. It's very rare when you get that nowadays with even movies, right? So it's the same thing with video games, right? But you gotta still respect where it all started, where it all came from, you know? If you go watch Tron, for example, you can't judge it for how cheesy it looks now. You gotta judge it on what it was doing back then that opened the doors for the creators and Hollywood and movie makers to vision what we get today as far as technology, special effects, you know what I mean? Storytelling. Because that's what did it. If it wasn't for those type of things, we wouldn't have it today. So, you know, I hate that kind of stamp. I really, really, you know what I'm saying, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I know things have to progress. In fact,
I read.
I'm pretty adamant about things progressing now because I feel we're stuck. We're in this quagmire right now when it comes to gaming. That I know that there's one company trying to push beyond that, but because the way the industry is now, especially in the
Mm-hmm.
media,
Mm-hmm.
and with a lot of the gamers who have a lot of hate, you know. Again, this is why I promote so much that I want Microsoft to just move on without them. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like I saw one article saying that Microsoft, I don't know if this is true or not, but they got the rights, I guess, to Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think so. I could be wrong, but you know, the funny thing is, I don't even play Grand Theft Auto, but I would like Microsoft to do that because whatever they
What you're
want,
saying is if they had the opportunity to do that, that you would want them to do it just to hurt whoever else gets in their way, just on
well,
principle.
just it's not even to really hurt anybody, just to push the industry out of this quagmire that we're in. Right,
Right,
go the nuclear
right,
option,
right.
like buy EA, buy Sega. There's stuff about did you hear about the Steam thing?
Yeah. Which now they're flipping out, now they're freaking the fuck out. And you got fucking retards like Reforge and these other retards like Expo saying stupid shit that make no fucking sense.
No, but
Oh,
I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that because every time
mhm,
Microsoft does that, and it could have been on purpose. I would like to think that they're doing that on purpose. Maybe not. But regardless if it was on purpose or not, it doesn't matter because every time something like this happens, dude, reality kicks into place, right?
mhm.
Like it's the same thing when Trump won the election. Trump wins the election, he takes office. Everybody knows stuff is coming, but they're not sure. Then when he comes in, he just puts the hammer down, right, on everything.
Yeah,
That's what I want Microsoft to do, right? Like Microsoft, I'm looking at them and I'm like, dude, you just shared a clip that could have been a mistake. Maybe not nothing to do with Steam being on Xbox at all, right? Maybe it's just something that was put out there that you guys missed because it's insignificant. Because
maybe just put it out there to see the reaction
or
because
maybe not,
companies
or maybe
do
not
that
at
on
all.
purpose as well
Yeah,
to
maybe not on
see if it's
purpose
a
though.
positive one or a negative one because that's what they're thinking about doing.
Well, even if they didn't do that, like I'm saying, like even if it's just something that they missed, right? Because they got so much stuff going on. My
Right.
point being,
Mhm.
whether it's on, like you said, whether it's on purpose or not, everything stops. The entire gaming media, the entire gaming industry just freezes in place, freezes in time. When
Mhm.
and Microsoft did that, and either way, if they did it on purpose, great. If they did not do it on purpose, that's great as well. My point being is that when they the fact that it happened and the reaction of that is what I'm talking about, right? It just blows my mind because these guys, right? They seem to.
It's so irrelevant, but anytime they do something, it's so paid attention to. It creates a fucking domino effect in the entire industry.
Yeah, the whole industry just stands still because
Yeah,
there's two points that, like, one of the main points about it is all the hate, all the things that they're reporting about, right? The thing that gets me about this is that at the end of the day, this is what they're scared of. This is why they come at Xbox, and the Xbox brand and Microsoft so hard, because they understand that Microsoft, at the end of the day, can buy Steam. At the end of the day, they can buy whoever they want to. They can own whoever they want to. If I don't get, like,
Sony, as long as they agree, they could buy them.
Yeah.
With no issue, or they could even convince them because they got a lot of deep pockets.
Yeah, that's what scares everybody, and that's why they're so hyperbolic about everything when it comes to Xbox and Microsoft. That's why they double, triple, quadruple down. Again, not to make it about politics, but that's what you saw happening in the election. The 2 years of the election run-up, actually, they're technically the 4 years, but especially in the 2 years that are running up into the election, these guys were going all out on Trump, hardcore. They were going so hardcore on him that people realized that, like, they woke people up. It's like, dude, like, there's people that absolutely hated this dude, man. I watched the videos and they're like, dude, they said the one reason that they turned and looked at Trump more is because that all the hate that he was getting, right? And so to me, every time I look at what Microsoft, and I'm not trying to say Microsoft is Trump, what I'm trying to say is every time I see a pony, especially, or anybody that's outside of the Xbox ecosystem, whether they're trying to just get their clicks and views, or they're misinformed because they listen to gaming media, every time they double down, triple down on Xbox, dude, something like this happens, where it might not happen, it might be true, it might not happen, whatever. It doesn't matter. But anytime something like this Steam thing happens, dude, everybody just shuts up, and then you have this moment of silence.
Which shows you how relevant they really are, because everybody says, "Oh, they're not relevant." Yeah, okay. Let them use tomorrow say that they bought Nintendo or Sega tomorrow, and watch how the whole industry stops.
Yeah. Hey, can you fix your microphone, Heba?
Sure, I'm going. Hold on. I'm gonna try to go to a better spot. Give me a second.
Yeah. Because I can't. Yeah.
Give me a second.
No, go ahead.
I'm trying to get, like, while I'm talking to you, I'm getting myself together to have to step out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's better.
But at the same time, I'm talking. I'm just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's good. I just want to hear what you see.
No, I'm saying that they're so irrelevant. But if tomorrow, let's say they come out and say, "Oh, well, Ubisoft decided to sell most of their stocks to Xbox," that's it. That's all it'll be. That they'll talk about for like the next 3 months, 5, a year, whatever the case. The whole industry will come to a halt. Like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always
that would be so funny.
Huh?
I hate to say that. That's one of the enjoyments of it. I mean, my enjoyment comes from, it's great that
it's funny because the whole time they've been talking about, "Oh my God, Assassin's Creed is better on the Pro than when it actually isn't." But that's a whole nother conversation, right? And they're like, "Oh my God, it looks amazing. The Pro finally." It was showing that it was worth the money you're getting. And as soon as they came out with that story about the Steam, no one's talking about it. Exactly. Shut down.
Yeah. I saw that, dude, and I was like, I would like. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, bro. Like I said, I hope they are thinking like that 4D type of mentality. I don't know what Xbox sometimes does, right? You know what I mean? But I saw Phil. Did you see Phil Spencer made mention of them doing their content in media form?
Mm-hmm.
Variety. He was actually in Variety. I like to see that personally because it's them crossing the streams. Again, getting back to the original goal of Xbox One, what it was supposed to be.
Oh, you talking about the movie stuff?
Yeah, his comments.
Yeah, man, that shit is hysterical. They were the first ones to do it, and now because it's accepted, and everybody else is doing it, now it's okay because Sony's doing every fucking franchise they have into a movie.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, so we're gonna do the same. But this is old news because Microsoft Ben said, "This is what we're doing. We want to connect the movie medium to connect with the games and build on those worlds in the different mediums." and that way they can reach other people. You know, people that watch movies will catch interest. I'm like, oh wait, what's this? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's a wise thing to do. I think they need to get back to those basics, especially with. This is why I don't worry about every time an article comes out about Microsoft is done with Xbox. They're selling that for Xbox. Xbox got no games, all that stuff, because what they're doing with the brand, and not just the Xbox, but everything that's under Xbox, they're expanding it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's hilarious because we're huge Sega fans. That's where we cut our teeth on in gaming because we're Sega. And
Right.
it's funny because Sega now, who also got a
Nobody
lot of heat.
nobody had it worse and had to feel worse than we did dealing with the whole situation of what happened with Sega.
Yeah. But I think it's amazing now when you look at what they're doing, right? And so it's almost like Microsoft sees that and like, yeah, we're going to do the same thing. I'm not saying that they might be taking a page out of Sega or that was the plan, but regardless, right? That's where the industry is moving and they're moving in that direction. Because Sega right now, it blows my mind, dude, that people look so fondly on Sega now and we have to deal with
Yeah. And so finally for them with stupid ass games, in my opinion, that are nowhere near of the quality of stuff they used to give us before. So
I mean, I'll
that's
take it,
really
bro.
good thing.
I'll take it, brother, just for the brand, sake of the brand.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'll take it for the fact that I don't want them to die either. But you know, I like look at how they announced a new Crazy Taxi, a new Jet Set Radio, a new Golden Axe, a new Streets of Rage, right? A new Shinobi. And out of all those games, they brought out like 1,000 more Yakuza, Yakuza copycats and Sonics, but they still haven't brought out not even the first game yet, which is the Shinobi is coming out now. And they said this like a year and a half ago. Like that's what get me mad. They don't treat their IPs, their golden legendary IPs, with the respect that they deserve. Nintendo does. They're not stupid. And that's why they keep having success with those IPs, because they never shied away from them, right? Same thing like even Sony, when they do certain things with their old IPs that people like, they'll try to push them, right? In a way where it keeps that nostalgia going. But Sega, and look, Capcom, look what it's done for Capcom. You see what I'm saying? They were about to go bankrupt, and all of a sudden, Capcom's doing well now. They're fine. Like, bro, Sega is the guard. Whoever runs the guard that runs the show with the ship there right now, he needs a reality check. Somebody slap him up or something. He's young and don't understand the power and the history and the appeal that their IPs, their legacy IPs have. If he did, they'll be doing so much, so fast, so much quicker that, believe me,
Yeah, I think
it would be back on top easy. Huh?
But that's what they're doing is they're just going in a different direction. I feel you though.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I know, but I saw this really good interview with him and he talked about it. But they're definitely not the Sega we knew. They're Sega Sammy now.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I mean that seems to be the direction that where they're pulling their fan base from. Right. That's why it's hard for me to talk to Sega guys when I see somebody that's a Sega guy. The only way you can talk to them is if they got to be our age or a little bit younger.
Right. Or someone that so-called calls himself, I'm a Sega fan. Yeah, okay.
Bro, you know what it is? It's like WWE. I'm trying to get into WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot of the new people. But I like that Triple H running it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even him, man, he's taking risks that I'm not used to, and I know that's just because of my age, and the wrestling I grew up with. But that's what I feel about Sega right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that they're revisiting the classics. I'm kind of on board with the direction that they're taking. It looks cool. I know that they're definitely getting support, man. I guarantee, man, Microsoft is supporting them, right? And I think that helped them too. Same thing with Capcom, right? Like Capcom, Microsoft did the game with them. Then they were able to put that one game on the dinosaur game on Exo Primal, which is actually a pretty good game.
Well, they put that. They put fucking Path of the Goddess.
Yeah, Path of the Goddess.
The Goddess is an amazing game. Looks incredible, plays great, and they helped fund the game, and they still let them put it on other platforms. I'm like, what the? My only thing that I think was a miss on their part, right, or a missed opportunity on their part, is that they haven't made physical copies of games like Path of the Goddess, right? Or like Exo Primal, or like the Gunk, or like Recore, or fucking Hi-Fi Rush, or even the upcoming South of Midnight. Make physical copies. Like, what is the problem?
Dude, they're not gonna do it, bro.
I don't understand what's the problem. I don't get it.
I think it's just they want digital now.
And I get that, but that's not real ownership. You can't promote real preservation of gaming if you can't really provide real preservation. And unfortunately, no matter how much people want to argue or dispute it, the only real gaming preservation is physical copy. That's
Did
it.
you see the article that came out about Microsoft? They're implementing something on the new Xbox.
Oh yeah, that they're trying to work diligently to bring back backwards compatibility with the next console. Yeah.
So how real is that?
I don't know. I'm hoping it's real. That's one thing I could say for. Yeah, I hope it's real. Is it? Who knows, right? Because we don't work for Microsoft, but we're certainly not going to be ignorant enough to sit here and be like others be doing. Yeah, we heard from a little grapevine that that is fact. And then what never happened, and we look like jackasses. And then they try to act like they never said it. But yeah, I hope it does. And then said that they're trying to implement it in a form of emulation. And I say, yeah, that's the only way you can. If you're not getting the cooperation of companies where they don't want to let you use a license, right? Without you paying them an astronomical fee, even though that game might be 40 years old or 30 years old, that you know very well it's only going to sell maybe a few thousand copies. It's not going to do very well, but it's nice to have the option, right? Or if the people that already own it can be able to still play it. Emulation is the only thing that makes sense because it's not illegal, right? But then you got companies like Nintendo that they go after people in their channels that play Nintendo stuff through emulation. Like, bro, because they want to come and give you 4 or 5 games through their service like every 6 or 8 months and then charge you like $30 for a game that should be like $5. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, Hebot. Vante says took a third-party game to properly use the capabilities of the PS5 Pro. Hilarious. Vante, which game is it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but it's not even implemented correctly because it's a give or take. If you look at Digital Foundry's video, basically what they did was in the performance mode, because that's the mode they concentrated the most. In the performance mode, they gave you a better ray tracing solution, right?
Oh, is this Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. But with the better ray tracing solution, they had to take away the upscaling from the resolution itself, right? So they gave you better ray tracing, but the resolution looks muddier and worse than it does on the regular performance mode without the ray tracing. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but that's
even though it's still running or outputting at 1080p, it's still got a muddier and more fizzled out and blurrier, picture quality, right? And they said it themselves because people love not saying the little details that they point out, because they talk so fast and they try to talk intertwining words so people won't realize what they're really saying. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they're not gonna ultra focus
because they love making PlayStation look good, right?
Yeah.
But
so I don't watch those guys at all.
But I watch it so that I can call out the bullshit because I know how much of a bunch of how many liars are out here, how many gaslighters that they be fucking lying, gaslighting, saying one thing and putting it out of context. I'm taking it way out of context.
I watched them enough to realize that I watched them enough to realize that they missed their calling. They should have been politicians. That's what I think about. Hey, listen to those guys. I'm like, bro.
And you know why I know that it wasn't a good implementation?
How's that?
Because the guy at Ubisoft already put out a post. Oh, we're working on giving you a better solution than PSSR. If it was already doing a good job, why are they worrying about doing something else?
Yeah. It's when the rubber meets the road. Yeah.
That's how you know. Well, how you know we're a bunch of horse malarkey. Yeah. And now everybody's like, oh my God, they're working on another update to make it even better. Like, come on, stop. Like, I can't with these fake, disingenuous people on YouTube, on social media, and there are a bunch of pony shills. And then when you do something to protect or talk the facts about what Xbox is doing right, they you just suck Xbox nuts. So it's like, what the fuck is what you're doing is called? When you're actually not getting shit, but yet you're still applauding them. If I'm a shield, you're worse. You're a Sony nutsack, nutsack liquor or ball liquor, But they're giving you shit and you still like, yay, thank you, let me suck your legs. You know what I mean?
That's funny. We can bring it back. Sorry.
You know what I'm saying, brother?
Yeah. I don't know, man. At the end of the day, when I see all this kind of stuff, that's why again I wish Microsoft would just take the gloves off, so we can put all this stuff behind us and move on.
Well, it's like, look, how you gonna think that the PlayStation version, right, is gonna be a better version if the Xbox version supports Dolby Vision HDR? That's number one.
Yeah.
Which is way more nits. It's 12,000 nits versus 4. It's 12 billion color variations versus 1 million. So right off the hip, your black and white levels are going to be insane, and so are your color levels, which are going to give you a gorgeous picture quality, especially if you play on an OLED. Then how are you going to tell me that the sound quality is going to be better when it has Dolby Atmos surround versus that 3D Tempest shit that's a fake 3D sound system that they implemented, right?
Right.
How are you going to think that it's better if the online structure on the Xbox is better because every game on Xbox can run on dedicated servers as opposed to peer-to-peer, which is what PlayStation implements, right? How are you going to say it's a better experience if the Xbox Series X controllers actually support low latency with the DEL or DL, direct latency input feature and technology that's on the controller that gives you the lowest latency input versus PlayStation? Do you see what I'm trying to say?
No.
Are you really going to sit there and tell me because it does a little bit of better ray tracing in the performance mode that it's a better version, even though it lacks all these other things that Xbox giving you when you're having all that minus better ray tracing? You have ray tracing, but not as good, baby. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, make it make sense. The same way that the Xbox Series X is a CPU machine, and everything that is being used as far as feature sets are hardware integrated. They're not firmware integrated the way they are on PlayStation. They were built in the hardware, just like it's DirectX 12 Ultimate compliant. The PlayStation is not. You see what I'm saying? It's Vulkan. Still to this day, even though it's AMD. So again, like I said, those are things that they don't bring up, and Digital Foundry doesn't do it either. So people are like, what you talking about? What you talking? I'm like, bro, stop. Like, if you don't know what you're talking about, just shut up. Don't even get in the conversation. Don't even get in the conversation because it's just annoying. Then you break it down and show it to them, oh, fuck you. You're a fucking liar. How am I lying if I'm showing you facts? I'm showing you proof. You need to cut it out. Oh, so what? You get better performance you could do better options, get better performance on PC. Yeah, but at a bigger cost, at a higher cost value. Because even if it's a $900, $800, $1,000 built or pre-built machine or a built machine that you built yourself, you're still not going to get all the features that you get on a console for the price you're paying. Plus, you have the ability that we can actually trade up stuff to get a lower value cost for the console. You can't do that with PC parts. You can sell them and maybe trade them to certain particular stores, and if you pay money to get that type of program, but they don't just do it like that. The way you do with a console, you can just go trade it in and get $200, and you're just paying $300 for your new Series X. You get what I mean? These are all things you got to look at. But they don't see it, and they'll try to act like oh no, that's what you talking about. Like, bro, stop. Oh, you're locked on the one ecosystem. Look, I'm locked on the one ecosystem that I choose because I want to play the games they offer. But I also get multi-plats. I also go independent games. It's not like I'm not getting the same games you're getting. Who cares if it's an open platform? Having an open platform is what creates less quality control because you're self-published. You're not published by an actual big publisher. So being self-published means there's no quality control. They're going to just release shit the way they want to, take their sweet-ass time, do whatever they fucking feel like it, and that's it. And they'll still charge you the prices that they charge you. It can't be that way on console, even though you get games on console that have actual problems, but that's more due to optimization or lack of optimization or lack of experience from developers or some set developers. That's not really because they're doing that deliberately. You see what I'm saying?
Man, Xbox got a lot of hate. Xbox got a lot of hate for that stuff, bro. I remember.
Oh,
That was just like everything else. Like you guys don't do it indies. You guys don't support indies, all that kind of stuff. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember that was a topic. Like
half the time why games come out, like some indie games don't come out right away for Xbox is because they require a lot of things when you're doing the the process to put it on Xbox.
Mhm.
And one of those things is the quality control. And so when you see a game come out, it'll come out on Switch and PS5 or PS4, but the quality of the game is not that great, right? And then you don't see it on Xbox, even though it's supposed to be out on Xbox. But it's because of that, because they make the demands that the developers make the game as polished as possible before it comes out, you know, on the platform, because they know people pay money for it, you know?
Mhm.
And when people go, no, but they don't do it because why Starfield didn't have 60 frame mode? 60 frame mode does not mean that the quality of the game is bad if it doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Because in 30 frames, the game's quality is still good. And plus, Todd Howard explained it. In the 60 frame mode, we needed to do more optimization because the frame rates kept dropping and weren't stable to our liking, the way we wanted it to be for you gamers. They worked on it. They kept working on it after release. And when it was finally ready to play to the point that they thought was good enough or sufficient enough or right, for the consumer, then that's when they put it out on the patch. And now you got the 60 frame mode. You know what I mean? Because they love saying, oh yeah, but the game don't come out 60 frame mode. Not all of them, not all. Because maybe they don't want to bring out something that comes dropping down and up in frames. That means it's not optimized right. But if it's 30 frames and it's optimized correctly and it's giving you a good experience, that means the game still has quality. It doesn't mean the game doesn't have no quality. It just doesn't mean it doesn't have 60 frames as a mode. That's all. So they love, tongue twisting and moving the goalposts, making it seem like that's bad. That means the game has no quality. Never have I played a game because it's 30 frames that has, that polish that it's not quality because it's 30 frames. Hellblade 2 is excellent example. Alan Wake 2 is another example, right? Control was another example. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of examples out there. During the 360 era, 50% of games were 30 frames because they were pushing the boundaries with graphics on a console, rather, right? On a home console with effects and things that they were doing, open world and things like that, NPCs, big hyper, cinematic moments. They were pushing the envelope, but they still ran really great in 30 frames. And like I said, almost 50% of the games were 30 frames during 360. You didn't see nobody complaining then, but now it's everybody loves. I'm a tech, so I know 60 frames is better and 30 sucks. You see what I'm saying?
It's funny to me how they get all these kind of talking points. Like I posted this thing up about the Xbox is seemingly hard at work on backwards compatibility for the next Xbox consoles, which is something Sarah Bond talked about years ago, right? About them doing that. I just that's the level at which our side and not this website per se. They're just talking about it, but you know what I'm saying. Just again, the gaming media. That Xbox executives and even people that are on the Xbox side, is at fault in some aspect, right? That you have to repeat yourself all the time about what you're not doing. Like come see me when it doesn't become when it's not happening, when it's something that you talked about and it's not happening. Then I want to know. But moving forward, always, man, I'm like, look, they said it because their track record when it comes to things is way above 500, right? There's been a couple things they dropped the ball on, but for various reasons too. Right? Never at any time did I feel they dropped the ball on something because they wanted to get on my bad side. Now, some of the decisions they made, I don't agree with. Right? But all I have to do is just turn my Xbox on and start playing my games and realize, at the end of the day, that's where they're killing it is where it matters. Like I was talking about earlier, brother, and that game I absolutely been enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that it's occupied my time pretty much. And I got stuff to do, man. There's other games I gotta finish my COD, dude. I bought the season pass, and so I need to
Yeah.
go finish that up.
Me and you still gotta play Power Rangers too.
Yeah, dude, and it's hard, dude. It's hard, right? Because it's just and so when I look at the news and they said, well, Xbox is in trouble. Xbox has no games to play. I'm like, bro, you guys are just straight up lying. So I'm glad that a lot of these look. I'm all
Oh,
for
look,
free.
look this month. We get South of Midnight.
Yeah.
We're getting Towerborn. We're getting Towerborn, right?
Well, that's next month, right? April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting Towerborn. We're getting the fucking Doom. The Expedition for those who like RPGs, right?
Yeah.
It's a consistent volume of games, but we don't have to go and forcefully find money to go buy them right away, even though we may not have the money to play them. We could sit back, relax, the games, and then if we, once we have money, we like this. Okay, I'm gonna buy this now. I'm gonna buy that now, and still support the game and the development. Right? See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the difference. No, if you're on PlayStation, you gotta fucking buy each one of those games that they come out with, and whatever independent and third party, you gotta buy no matter what out of your pocket for $7 each or 60 or whatever the case may be.
Oh, but
And
that's
that's
why.
another thing. It makes it easier for us to buy and support.
No, but that's why I like this because it's gonna these guys are gonna get exposed because we know they don't buy games.
Look, brother, look. I was able to buy.
Oh, nice. Is it physical?
Yeah, and it's preserved. It's all in the disc. The split fiction, all in the disc. It's all in the disc. And my son, he bought even on sale. He bought the what the fuck is the name of that one? The Dragon Age.
Yeah.
It's on 2 discs, and it's preserved. You know what I mean? My other son Zach, he bought a bunch of like licensed games to do with Avatar. I think this one with it's based off a girl toy with these 2 spy girls, but it's a platformer. He bought a couple, and they were like good price. He was able to buy a couple of them recently. You know what I mean? But it's again in the disc, which is a good thing. The Mickey Mouse that came out, the new one, the reboot, rebound, whatever it's called, rebrushed, that one, that's preserved. That's in the disc. You're able to get that. You know what I mean?
I mean, at least having that option, dude. I don't know.
But I was able to buy that because I don't have to worry about. I didn't have to worry about buying Ninja Gaiden Black 2 remastered and go and pay for that because it was on Game Pass. You see what I'm saying? The same way when 4 comes out, I don't have to worry about going out and buying it right away if I don't have the money. I can buy something else and then buy 4 if they make the physical as well, because they don't got a physical for Black, which they should. But they don't have one. You know?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm telling you, they're killing me, man. They're killing me. I face a different problem, man. Maybe because I'm where I live, man, but I don't have the option a lot of times of just walking into a store and just buying the disc, dude.
Right.
But they're telling me, well, if you pre-order, you can make sure you get that, and I'm like, bro, it's like the hottest game that's out right now. I should be able to walk in here and just buy it.
Yeah.
But what I should be debating with you right now is if I should buy just the regular or the special edition.
Right.
We shouldn't even have this conversation that is not even in stock. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe I'm old school, but that's what I'm having a problem with. Right? And I feel that makes me feel a certain way. Like, I'm like, okay, so basically what you're telling me is you want me to order it from Amazon.
Amazon's probably your best friend no matter what.
Yeah, that's. But I want to come here. I like coming here, dude. We come here for your other stuff, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but your store is predominantly supposed to be about video games. All the other stuff should be on the side, but when you have all this other stuff and you don't have a game that just released, dude, I have a hard time, because they're like, oh well, it's selling so well. that you should have pre-ordered. I was like, well, dude, how many copies did you get in? Like 5?
Right.
Is that what you're trying to tell me? 5?
Yo, what?
You know, like you just didn't do a box. Like I understand, dude. It's tough economic times, especially where I live, dude. It's absolutely ridiculous. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at this. I'm like, you guys aren't really giving me any options. This is my problem with all of this. So I'm getting it on from all directions when it comes to physical. But hey, Heba, just really quickly, dude. I'm probably about 12 o'clock, dude. Got to call out a podcast. My daughter just texted me. I'm gonna go grab her.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem, brother. It's been a pleasure. Yeah. Call me later, like I said.
You know what I'll do, man? I was thinking about doing the humble games, or I shouldn't say that. I don't know what my daughter's got planned. But if I'm not doing anything, I want to do that humble games. But I'll hit you up.
We got to catch up. Yeah. Call me when you get a chance. Absolutely.
Yeah. In fact, can we wrap it up?
Please send my regards to Aria. Yeah.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. Go check yourself out, brother, and then we'll go.
Yeah. This is your boy Heba. Come check me out if you like. I don't think you'll be disappointed. On YouTube, it's Heba 8 with the number 8. I just threw a opinion video of what was going on with Dustin Gary's stupid clickbait video that I think he did. Plus, I got a lot of videos that I did, like retro stuff, arcade stuff, that I'm gonna throw out. They're ready to go, but I haven't edited them. Like the shit, throw them out. Yeah. And I did one on Split Fiction with my son that I played. I did one on Care Bears. There's a Care Bears beat platform that came out. A bunch of stuff.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll be able to come by and just check out the gameplay, enjoy it if you want. You're more than welcome. Yeah, so I appreciate you sending me the link, brother. Yeah, it's been a while. Miss talking with you. You know that.
Yeah, my schedule is all kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I definitely I want to do one on Nacon, and I want to do one on the Humble Games.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to do the idea of Xbox, mainly because it's on IGN. I can't stand IGN. But
right.
Xbox, one too. So if you want to jump on, let me know, dude. Or I'll just say,
just call me.
I'll hit you up, and
I always tell you to call me because sometimes I don't even see the text, and when I see the text, it's already way past the top. Like, damn.
All right, yeah. Now just
call me. You'll always find me if you call me.
Yeah. Okay. So Xbox All in China, Jose Forever, and we out.
All right, we out.